Hello and welcome to Chatz, a television podcast, the TV book club hosted by two best friends. This is season 18 of Chatz, entitled Toon Couch, Toon Madness 2. Just kidding. It's Couch Madness 2, but it's not Toon Couch Toon Madness 2 because that would be Couch Madness 3. And that's not where we are.
Yet.
Speaking of 3, the sentence I'm about to say is not related to 3. What's zanier than trying to pick our next chat season from a huge pile of 64 different animated series? It's the series themselves, of course. Now listen, my name's Magellan, and I'm joined by a geisha robot who's demanding a pay raise. It's Allen.
We need to unionize the robots as soon as possible. This is true. This would fix half of the problems in Ghost in the Shell if they just unionize the robots.
Yeah, when the character was like, what if they demand a pay raise? Out loud, I was like, what if they do?
And what if they do?
And what if they do?
Talk about the Ghost in the Shell? Yeah, we'll get there. Okay.
And what if they do? We're not alone this week, Alan, to talk about the 4 shows that we're watching the first episodes of. We're excited to be joined by our very own little slugger, friend of the show and host of Spin Polish and Yum Yum podcasts. It's Ryan Slowinski. Hey, Ryan, what's up?
Hello. In the end, we all stand alone, Magellan. So we are all some standalone complexes here today on the pod.
Wow. In my notes, I wrote, me at the function. I call that a standalone complex. So
there you go.
My problem with laughing at that joke for me is like I know too much about what that phrase means that I'm like I can't go back to the point. I can't let the genie out.
Well, actually,
me reading that is just resisting the urge to. I'm actually yeah. God, I'm annoying.
We've already hinted at a couple of the shows that we're talking about this time around, but just to make it absolutely clear, okay? Last week I said we were in our 5th division. I was wrong. No. I would have been right if I said that. I said we were in our 6th and I was wrong. That was the 5th. And this is the 6th of 8 divisions. This one is sort of like anime, drama. It's like the shows that are good. And everyone's like, these are good. And we're going to watch the good shows. We got 8 that we're going to be covering the first episodes of this week and next week. This week, in alphabetical order, we watched the first episodes of Cowboy Bebop, Gankutsuou, The Count of Monte Cristo, Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, and Paranoia Agent. We're going to talk about those in chronological order in a moment, but I don't know. Maybe we want to. It's like, do we watch anime? Do we like anime? Like, what are we doing here? Why do we want to talk about these things? Curious about that.
Why? One of the big philosophical questions. How? Another one. How did we watch these? Legally? Perhaps.
I'll never tell.
These are good questions.
Ryan,
what about you? What's your anime deal? And
my anime deal is interesting. I mean, down here in Australia, I grew up with, morning block entertainment like a lot of people did, and a lot of the shows on were, your animated fare, your X-Men, your Pokemon, Digimon, Dragon Balls, Totally Spies, Winx Club, all of that stuff, right?
Peak!
Oh, yeah.
And peak stuff. Bratz, the animated series, anyone? Where the boss was the same actress who played Nina Van Horn from Just Shoot Me, and it is the same character, basically. Yeah, that's right.
Just Shoot Me. Shut up. That's
what? That's true. That is a true statement.
I'm calling David Spade right now to let him know that you remember that show.
David Spade's great in it.
Sorry,
what are you talking about? George
he is
Siegel?
great. He is great. I'm speaking parentheses complimentary. Everything that I'm saying.
But after a certain point, you're like, okay, that's it. You grow up. You're like, I'm no longer that age, and some of the anime that came on, I didn't care for. So I'm just like, whatever. but certain ones did filter through, like Ghost in the Shell, the movie, and Standalone Complex, or some of the earliest ones I saw independently and just enjoyed. Same with Gankutsuou, because when I was in my teens, I read The Count of Monte Cristo, and then I wanted to watch some adaptations of it, and that was one of them. And then, anime in general is one where I've always been fine with it, but I've mainly watched movies. I've mainly watched Japanese movies
Mm.
than shows. Just that's how it's kind of landed. But over the last few years, I've just been itching for more things to watch, and it's just a whole entire world to watch. I think, recently you two discussed a bunch of Western animated shows, and like 3 out of 4 of them got canceled. And that
Mhm.
was like another reason where I'm like, oh, I want to be able to watch science fiction. I want to be able to watch animation that's made for adults that isn't a comedy, or a children's show with surprisingly adult themes in there. And oh, well, there's an entire country and an entire industry that does that. So, yeah, I decided, a few years ago that my friends and I would have an anime group, would sit down, we'll all
Fun.
recommend a show, we'll watch it together, and then we move on. And some of the shows here are ones that have been on that list. Some of them, things that were new to me when I watched them, like Paranoia Agent was a new one to me. I'd seen that filmmaker's movies over the last
Mhm.
couple of years, but that was like the last thing. And we'll talk about it with Paranoia Agent Face Special. But it was one where it's like I put it off because I didn't want his work to end, because he's very
Yeah.
special
Mhm.
director, and it's like his only show.
Mhm.
So I was like, I don't want it to end, but we eventually did watch it. So yeah, the selection that we have before us today are ones that I've seen all of as
Mm.
well. So as I said right before we started recording, when I finished each episode, one of my notes was, all of my old friends. I
Yeah.
love all of these characters in all of these shows.
That's great. Alan, what any connections to this particular slate, or anything that you heard Ryan talk about that you want to respond to?
Absolutely. Yeah, you made a great point, Ryan, that like it's fun watching anime because you can actually watch shows finish and like get a budget, and there's an
Mhm.
industry that respects the medium, and or a nation that like produces this stuff on a regular basis because it's like part of the broadcast culture. That's just really refreshing, and this felt like a 201 course for this kind of stuff. Like these are literally 4 shows that they could teach in school about how like the history of anime and adaptation and dubbing, the history of anime in the United States, because at least 2 of these are like big Toonami shows, so they tie into that, into like how anime came to the West and how it was influenced by the West specifically, or how it influenced the West. And then we get some weirder stuff with Paranoia Agent, and then Gankutsuou is like your cool anime friend's favorite show. And it's interesting. Well, we'll talk about when we get there, but like that's a series that I always knew about. The other ones I watched, I'll talk about that too. But Gankutsuou was like not available until semi recently in the United States to watch legally. Like it only got on certain streaming services recently. So I always was like, oh, that's the cool show that looks like painted art, and now I get to watch it, and that's really fun. So yeah, this is it's a wonderful slate of programs here.
Yeah, I think for me, a lot of what you said, Ryan, I resonate with, just around like the kinds of shows that you have an appetite for, where it's like, I'm interested in speculative fiction. I like stuff that respects my intelligence and my curiosity and has something to say and doesn't feel the need to like couch that in what it thinks I'll couch, sure, yeah. Doesn't feel the need to couch that in like what it thinks I'll pay for or buy or whatever. Like I don't know. And I think with these also, to varying degrees, there was like a level of mystique that I find really appealing about certain anime that has like impacted me the most. Like Cowboy Bebop, I know I've watched, but I have no idea how much of it I've watched, because every time I watch it, it feels like I'm in kind of just like a half awake state of like, whoa, it's like a dream. There's like something kind of ethereal about it that is really engaging. So I'm excited to talk about these with you both.
Yeah, I picked the 4 for each of the halves of this block, and that was my specific goal there, Magellan, was there's a thematic core connecting all 4 of these shows, which I'll talk about, but also just the feeling of like, what is this? Is this the greatest thing I've ever seen? Question mark, question mark, question mark, I think that's one of the connecting themes. But I'm very, very excited to talk about the shows.
And hello, Tone. Tone. What is tone? Each one of these are tonal pieces. That's the thing that's very interesting. Each one of them is like, look, we could have a plot or we could have mood, which is interesting.
Yeah. That's a really good point. That there's such a craft to it, to the mood of it. Because that is something that I think in a lot of the Western shows we've watched, there's a bit more of like, well, you're here already for a specific tone or mood that's like we know you're here for, and there's like a little more like, yeah, generally maybe we have an expectation, but what do you think about this? What if there's blood?
Yeah,
what do you think about that? It's like, okay, sure.
If one of the OPs is one of the oldest videos on YouTube? What about that? That's our Paranoia Agent for you. That's been on there for like 20 years.
Nice. That's pretty awesome. Okay, so let's talk about the first show, which we're going to do these in chronological order. So first up is Cowboy Bebop. We watched episode 1, Asteroid Blues, written by Keiko Nobumoto, directed by Yoshiyuki Take, storyboarded by Shinichiro Watanabe.
Good job.
It aired on October 23rd, 1998 on TV Tokyo. Alan, what happened in Asteroid Blues?
I love the kind of woman that will actually just kill me.
Ryan requested
I give you Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind an 8 out of 10.
That is in fact the same guy. Oh my god. Shout outs. Ryan asked me to put 3 Cowboy Bebop clips on the soundboard. They will come up organically, I promise. Anyways, in this episode, Spike, a bounty hunter, and his partner, Jet Black, head to the Tijuana asteroid colony on their ship, the Bebop, to track down a bounty head named Asimov Solensen, wanted for murder and the theft of a dangerous combat drug known as Bloody Eye, or Red Eye, depending on who you ask. Everyone's seen it. It's Cowboy Bebop. It's one of the most iconic anime of all time. It comes up when you Google best anime of all time. Majan, you said best already. Score. Oh my god, we gotta talk about the music. Majan, you said you've seen some of Cowboy Bebop, but you have not. You don't think you've watched all of it, right?
I don't know. I really don't know. There was a time when I was in college, and I lived in a like a suite of 6 people, and we had a stretch of like, we're gonna watch anime, and it was a show that we watched then, and I think I've seen the movie, but I don't know if I've seen every episode, and this was like 12 years ago, so I also don't remember for sure, but I've definitely seen this first episode like 4 times.
It's like it's crazy that they come out best foot forward. It's one of the best episodes of the show. Yeah. But that is in a like generation defining show. Ryan, what about you? Cowboy Bebop history?
Iconic. Seen it many times over, both dub and sub versions, because they're both iconic in their own rights. Some of the best of the business in both shows. Languages, and it's amazing. It's so confident in itself. It blends the genres well together, and I watched it. I can't even recall when I first saw it. Like, that's the thing. I knew about it just because of it just had such a reputation, and being a science fiction fan as well, it's something to watch. You're like, oh, you got to go see Cowboy Bebop, and then over the years, you see any other bounty hunter show in space, and it's like, well, Cowboy Bebop. You have everything compared to it, even if it's not similar. You have to be like, well, they bounty hunt in space, Cowboy Bebop. It's almost to the point in which it's like, what do you say about it? It's just so impressive and so singular and so well formed straight out of the gate, from the music, the art style, the mood, the way that action is interplayed with storytelling and comedy, and just just everything about it, from how well defined our two characters are, as well as these people that they're hunting. It's just really, really interesting. And of course, the world building's great. And, it may seem not as novel now, but the, Western mixed with space stuff, it's all there.
Yeah, I had multiple moments watching this where this was the thought process. It's like, oh, the bad guy's name is Asimov. I wonder if there's like this meta thing that's happening about like science fiction and what authors and tones and vibes in science fiction were like inspired by or repudiating or whatever. And then I was like, he might just be named that because it's so cool. And this show's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if I want to work too hard to say something new about it because it's just really good. Yeah. So I agree with you wholeheartedly there.
Yeah, this was probably my third time watching this episode. I watched in that same span in college, that was Magellan. I like watched this show, and then right before the pandemic, or maybe right early on, I bought the Blu-ray of the whole series. And oh, I'm echoing in somebody's microphone, by the way. Who's bleeding me? Oh, okay. The issue seems to be gone now.
I think we're good.
Okay. Yeah, I bought the Blu-ray of the whole series, so I was like, oh my god, let me pull that right out. This is one of my favorite dubs, one of my favorite subs. I think what I really love about Cowboy Bebop, though, is, well, first of all, we don't have a full crew yet, but like every configuration of the Bebop crew is really fun. And I'm echoing in somebody's mic again.
Yeah, I'm
Are we?
not sure. I
Is
think
it
I heard
me?
I think I heard it from you, Ryan, but I don't know what it could be.
Yeah, you have headphones in. That's really weird. Yep, I'm still echoing.
Just check Discord. I'm not too sure. You know how it is. This
Yeah,
is for
that's
you
true.
video people up there.
Yeah.
It's a little Easter egg.
I'll put the edit down.
Is it still like it?
Echo, echo, echo. Testing the echo. Here's the echo sound. Yep, it's still happening.
Interesting.
I don't think I'm on like a weird mic or anything. Just my soundboard mic.
Oh.
And Magellan's not echoing in your ear, is he? Don't talk.
Talk. Testing the talk. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-dee-ba-do. I'm quieter than you, also usually.
true.
So
It seems to be gone now.
It must be
Okay.
some quirk of just like
Threshold.
like threshold or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. You want
We'll
to turn
see.
me down? You can turn me down if
Yeah.
you need to. If I'm loud. Okay. I'll pull us right back in.
All right. Cool.
I think the thing that I like most about it is every configuration of the crew has something really fun and interesting going on. That was why one of the, like, in the Chatz community, I was kind of known for a little while as the person who defended the live action Cowboy Bebop, and I don't think it's great. And watching this pilot, I was like, it's not even fair that they dared to try to remake this episode. It's not fair to them. You can't remake this episode. And that's what the first episode of the show is. And then they start doing their own thing. The problem is that the cast doesn't have the same sauce that these guys have. And that's the sauce that we're mixing beef and peppers in. Just like a delicious, soy sauce base. I think it's got a lot to say about capitalism and the gig economy, and also how something that we talk about a lot with these animated sci-fi shows is just how the future can be like really, really sad if you're poor. This is like what people who cannot afford more than like a couple of peppers and sauce eat on a daily basis, and what they have to do. They have to basically throw their lives at other men and women and at the world just to survive. And that permeates every character. Like, we don't get to see Faye here. We don't get to see, the dog is previewed in episode 2, Ein. And then we got our little like genius kid who comes in later. And like, I think why I do recommend people who like are interested right out the gate, I'll say like, you should watch Cowboy Bebop. It's iconic for a reason. Why you should watch all of it is to watch the assembly and then the disassembly of its ensemble. It is one of the only shows that I'm aware of, just to, like, it's old enough I can talk about this, that like assembles its whole crew and then makes them go, wait, why are we together? Is there any benefit to that? And like the sadness of the back third of Cowboy Bebop of just like, none of us even like each other. Oh my god, it's so good. And then we segue right into the movie, which is pretty depressing, but like really, really beautifully animated. Yeah, it's fucking bleak, right?
Yeah, the opening sequence of the movie is so good. The live action one had to open with that sequence because it's just so damn good, because it's a great little summary of the crew. And the thing that's really obvious here to say, but it's, needing to be stressed is, yeah, you could make this in live action, but the animation is so spectacular, and the patience that the show has, because this is funny, there's quips, there's lots of things happening, but there's so much silence in this episode as well. Even though we have on paper all of these bombastic things like the music, like the humor, like some of the visual designs, but yet there's such a craftsmanship in the way of being able to tell the story visually and just let things speak on their own. Like one of the things I liked when they went out of the jump gate area was like multiple languages speak over each other to kind of give this idea like, oh, this is how the future is. Like there's multiple things going on, and it doesn't make much attention about it. It just happens. And I do think when you translate certain things to live action, it's like, well, you see how depressing the future is because, well, there's a gray filter on it. But in this show, there's colors.
Yeah.
There's vibrancy, but yet look at the town that he's having the fight in. It's like a desolate shithole. That bar is all shut up and no one cares.
Yeah.
The cat comes in and just starts licking water. And it's like, to me, that symbolizes everything of just like this intense thing happened. People just died, but nature and things continue on because it doesn't care about you.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Like the thing that is so striking about Cowboy Bebop as a piece of art is the way that it handles its extremes and the way that it like very carefully moves between them, because we have very like vibrant, colorful moments. We have moments like the flashback at the beginning of the episode that are almost monochromatic. We have loud sounds, overlapping sounds. We have complete quiet even when there's like visual chaos. We've got very realistic character movements, like we're watching Spike train and we're looking at every like air punch, but then when we're in the fight, it's like flowing and loose, and we're kind of like flexing in and out of the way that a body moves, but you get this sense of it's like dance like. So there's just, and we get like characters that are very beautiful or like contemplative, and then we get the bad guy who's like all kind of face veins and snarling teeth, and the way that it modulates on every single spectrum there with like such precision and intention is really special. And I don't know how you could possibly replicate that in live action. Like it would be a different set of like knobs that you're tuning to the point where it's just a different show. It feels like.
No, and exactly. In a very short amount of time, this sinks its teeth into stuff too. Like it's a very existential show. Like we can have one of the most striking images, of course, is when the two bad guys are getting away, but they're not. It's over for them. And the woman who's pregnant, in quotations, gets shot out and all the vials are floating out. And it's just this image of just like, what have I done here? Like, what's the purpose of this? And she knows like, oh, that dream of a future I had is never going to happen. And then we end the episode with Spike and Jet basically where they started, except for now they have food, and just Spike looking in the window at his own reflection into the vast vacuum of space, and then just goes back to the same routine he was doing at the beginning of the episode. Something you mentioned too is he does that training, he does that, he's serious then, but when he actually does the fight where he has to enact that, it's a joke. He treats it like a joke. He's just whatever. This doesn't matter to me. But like we know, literally, he spends his time practicing this. Like it does matter, but it's all a joke, and that's what I love about Cowboy Bebop is it's a joke. Existentialism. ... It's a joke.
That's a very Watanabe thing. Is a lot of his anime deal with that sort of like it's existential, and that there's something kind of fun, darkly funny about that. And I think Spike is such an interesting character and an underrated character, or underappreciated, I guess, because the at face value, it's like this guy's cool. He's got cool hair. Steve Bloom is one of the best voice actors alive. Period. He's it's all constructed, right? It's very we were just talking about Bad Men before the pod. It's like kind of Don Drapery, where he's like, I don't know how to be a person when I can't even afford to eat. Like, how do I like carve out an identity for myself? And so when he fights, yeah, he doesn't fight like himself. He fights like a sad Bruce Lee knockoff. Like, he's doing clearly like Bruce Lee trained stuff, or that's like what they're inspired by. And this is something that the live action just completely fails to capture. But like, he's kind of throwing his whole body at the bad guy, just like as if you are a rag doll and you just can wag yourself at people and bah. And that's his fighting style. Is like, I don't care if I die. I literally, what's the?
You didn't need to post that.
That's the wrong clip. But you didn't need to post that. I love Spike.
He's so cocky that he almost gets killed in this episode by being choked from behind by the guy while trying to prove that he's superior to the woman, and then he nearly dies.
But and the thing that's so interesting is like, was that all part of your plan? Like, I kind of walk away from that because there's that great moment where he and Jet reunite, and Jet's like, yeah, I've been like really hitting the pavement and doing the hard detective work of figuring out what the heck's going on. And Spike's like, oh yeah, I met that guy already and I like stole the drugs from him. I don't know, whatever. And he's presenting this image of he's kind of just like stumbling his way into the situation. But he could have easily figured out, oh, there was a guy in the bathroom. I know that he's with a woman. There's a woman out here. I'm going to like ingratiate myself with this woman. That guy's going to show up. I clearly know how to pick pockets when someone's strangling me. Like, he knows what he's capable of doing.
Correct.
So yeah, I think that's what makes Spike a really intriguing character, is in order to be him, this guy who's just like kind of skating by job to job and it's surviving on what he can survive on, you have to work so fucking hard. Like, you have to work so hard to be poor and scrap in and out from day to day. It's like impossibly hard.
It's not cool. You're not supposed to want to live like Spike. It's like, well, this is the system built Spike. His identity is constructed.
Yeah. And the one who has the most reflection, the most deep characterization, is the person who also dies in this episode. The woman, she's the one that actually has thoughts about the world, about society, dreams, desires, and she tries to express these things to the men around her, and they don't care, or maybe they do, but it's not the same. And it's just a fascinating thing. Like, Jet's an interesting character in this episode as well, because he very much is like well, this is how it is. Like, he doesn't really have any kind of qualms about their situation in life, while Spike does to a little degree, which we see blossom over the course of this episode. Like, he goes to seek whatever you want to call it, spiritual wisdom from that, indigenous character. So you do see Spike has some level of wanting to think outside of the grind, while Jet is just like, hey, if we get food, I'm pretty happy.
Okay, yeah. Like, do they know that this mission is gonna go tits up, but they're still gonna get paid? You know, you're talking to John about like, how much do people know? Do they know that it's very likely that they're not gonna catch these people, but they will probably get their bare minimum payout? Maybe. We don't really know, but they have to watch as that woman flies away and then says, I believe the line is, we'll never get out of here now. I'm never going to see Mars. And just like the acceptance, the bleak, like, I'm going to get paid though. Fuck.
Yeah, because like, she shows Spike mercy, right? There's the moment where Asimov is going to kill him, like Ryan, you were talking about. And she's like, okay, stop. I don't know if there's a moment where Spike truly reciprocates that mercy. Like, he's kind of relentless in chasing them and just trying to like do the job, and here's what I'm here for, and this is my role in the system. I think he feels regret and guilt when he recognizes, like, you know what, this is kind of my fault that they're getting shot by the cop planes outside, or the cop ships outside of the ring. And there is probably a dissonance there of like, it's my fault, but if it wasn't me, it would have been one of these other guys that I shot on my way to get here. So how much can I like really accept blame for this, whatever. But yeah, he's really determined to like follow the job to its end.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Yeah.
don't really see him waver in the face of that, I don't think.
Yeah.
He wants to be a freelance agent, but he's a part of the system nonetheless. Like, he is a part of the system, and by the very end, like, literally makes it impossible for these two characters not just to get away, but also to ascend to something better. And he then just has to go, and what was that in worth of? Some meager scraps, actual scraps.
A little bit of beef with my peppers. If that, yeah.
Yeah, there's something in that about, because I think here's maybe the closest thing I have to like a new thought, right, about the show. Is the woman, she seems pregnant. She has all the drugs in this fake pregnant stomach. And there's a moment where we're in like Spike's POV and he's scoping out. He notices her touching her stomach when she's talking about the future. And really, I think his relationship with her in the episode is he's kind of asking himself, like, am I willing to buy into this fantasy? Like, she's convinced herself that she can have what we might consider like a more desirable, safe lifestyle of like, we're gonna have our kid and we're gonna have a safe life and da 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 da. And she's like, I believe that. I believe that that's gonna happen and this is our way to get there. And if you're Spike and you just sort of accept, oh, she's pregnant, then you've accepted the fantasy and accepted that it's possible within this system to somehow escape it and like get to where you want to go. And by the end of the episode, we see like he didn't ever really believe that. It's like, I'm not willing to
Not really
buy into that. And then we sort of see the dream burst into a bunch of drugs floating in space. But it says a lot about his character and like where we're going to go in the show, that he's not optimistic as a person as much as he like wishes he could be.
Yeah, I think, well, we eventually learn Spike's tragic backstory and his relationship to women and all of that. And, you know, I think you can read that into this as well. Like, that's what works so well about Cowboy Bebop is all of its stories are self-contained and serialized if you think about them like that, like if you want them to be. Yeah. And it's a show that ends up rewarding you for like thinking about and rewatching old episodes because you're like, oh, they clearly knew what this whole show was as soon as they started writing it. And like a lot of like Spike's relationship to women is in this episode. We see this like desire to save, this desire to fix because he's failed before. Yeah, it's a show with a lot of layers, like a freaking ogre.
Oh yeah. I will say one of the final things I want to say about this episode is there's this sequence where he's chasing them down. We see their ships flying off and the music changes. It's no longer the jaunty, we're having a fun time chasing them. It's hard to describe, but the music in this show is so varied, but of a certain piece. And it is this haunting, stark piece of music that really lets you know without the things happening yet that this is bad. This is not just wrong, but this is inherently a bad thing. And it's just like, this is why it's one of the greats. You know, it's like stuff like this of like, we can have our cake and eat it too. We can have all of this stuff in this first episode and have this moment where the music does such a drastic shift and it feels appropriate. It doesn't feel like it's jarring or out of nowhere. There's just something about the way that this show melds all of these things together that is so satisfying. Even after all this time later, like Cowboy Bebop is, you know, the quintessential, hey, if you want to get someone into anime, show them Cowboy Bebop. And it's not a derogatory thing. Like, it's just such an accessible show. And a part of it is it has so much trust in the audience, but it also knows what it's doing when it comes to characters, themes, and genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's such a point being made there of like, as the action is rising and we're reaching the climax, things are getting quieter and everything is falling away, like except for the music and except for let's look at these characters and how they're feeling. Um, there's like such a confidence in that, and it feels different than what you would expect, but it also feels right. Like, oh yeah, you're really bringing my focus into what it is you want me to be thinking about and taking away from this. It's quite a sequence.
There's a part in that sequence where, really quickly, we see the woman and we just kind of like hold on her face while she like dejectedly realizes that she's effed. And it's like, anime and animation in general, you know, we've been watching these now for weeks, if not months, doesn't hang on a look for that long. That was like one of the longest steady shots I've seen in Toon Couch Toon Madness. And I think it was, speaking of other anime, Keep Your Hands Off Isaacin, which is a wonderful anime from 2020 about students making anime and discovering why they want to make animation, where they talk about the benefit of not moving a frame forward. And I was like, oh yeah, it actually hits so hard when you don't cut, because usually we're cutting the especially nowadays, the ratio of cuts per minute is like so high in live action and animation that when you see it in animation just stop, you're like, oh god, that is a real person.
I watched this in the original Japanese. I imagine you both watched it dubbed.
I watched it.
Oh, good. One thing that I want to say about both actors who play Spike, and this is so fascinating, is there's such deep older voices for what is a young guy. He's a young character. And I think that's such an interesting creative choice on both ends, that no matter what, Spike is this youthful, exuberant, stretchy, bouncy guy, but when you hear him speak, he's lived a life. And just that creative choice from both sides is just, it's so powerful. And I remember, you know, not to shit on the live action too much, but when they cast John Cho to do Spike, one of the things he said was, oh, age doesn't matter with the character. It's about him being sexy and fun. And I'm like, I think age does kind of matter to the character, actually. It's more nuanced, but sure. And so, yeah, that was just one of the things that left out. And also, I love the voice actor of Jet in this show. He's just one of those deep-voiced Japanese voice actors. He's no longer around. But, like, each one of the animes, like a lot of the animes we're covering today, has, like, one of the deepest voiced men in Japan. So that's fun.
Daisuke Kishio, I believe. Or no, sorry, that's Jet from Sonic Riders. Wrong Jet. I'm sorry. Unsho Ishizuka.
But he also voiced my favorite character in Legend of the Galactic Heroes, a slimy politician. So he was always great fun.
And Mr.
He
Satan
always had
in
like
Dragon
a deep
Ball.
voice. There you go.
John, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask Alan any final thoughts on Cowboy Bebop.
I genuinely think about bell peppers and beef all the time as like a metaphor for young people trying to learn how to like exist in the world, and also just like it's the future and we're still making bell peppers and beef. And yeah, it's like one of the best meals ever, but it's also a struggle meal. It is inherently a struggle meal. And without the beef, it becomes bell peppers and heat. And I just was thinking about that, like kind of metaphorically, like we have the heat and we don't have the protein. I just think that's beautiful. I'm surprised how cozy this episode is. Not cozy in the sense of like fun and nice, but just like quiet and thought-provoking. And we get to like look at the cat in the bar for a while. I love all that stuff. I love the robot bartender. Is he even a robot? Did we even actually lean into that at all? Or is he just pale-skinned?
I thought he was a guy.
There's a lot of cybernetic people in this show.
Yeah, and they don't make a big deal about it. So there's like one shot where I was like, is that a robot bartender? I think Spike is cute. I think the fact that they have to fence to Mars, they have to bring these drugs to Mars, that's where the colonies are. I was like, that's so evocative without saying anything. Just like, we don't even have people on Earth who can afford this shit anymore. Like, Earth is just like a wasteland. It's so good. And then, yeah, the like slow melodic waltz as they fly up to space. The peak of the action being the quietest, most somber moment. I was like, perfection.
One of my notes, final thing, is Firefly can fuck itself. That's the thing that you walk away from when you watch Cowboy Bebop. It can go fuck itself.
6 ways to Sunday. Yeah. Get fucked.
I had a similar thought. As soon as there was a little taste of harmonica in the background music while all the ships were flying through those big rings, I was like, Firefly, what are you doing, man?
Joss Whedon found dead.
Yeah. This is it. This is the canonical one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of these 4 shows have a lot of other things that clearly heavily borrowed from them, which we'll talk more about.
Yeah. Let's talk about our second show, which was Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. Yeah, Alan, is it standalone complex? Like, is that a command? You're saying it to the complex? Or is it like standalone is an adjective to describe the complex?
Do you want the actual answer?
Yeah.
So that's two things. First of all, it's referring to the structure of the show because there are standalone episodes and there are complex episodes. The standalone episodes are self-contained and the complex episodes further the season-long plot.
Okay. So we're just talking about television.
Yep.
Correct. Some of them are explicitly serialized. Some of them are explicitly not serialized.
Okay.
It is also about the theme of the series and also the title. It's kind of the title Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex is kind of saying the same thing 4 times, which is like the thing inside of the thing inside of the thing, which is like the way.
This episode deals with a thing inside of a thing, so that's fun.
Yes. Yeah. So getting into it, like one of the connecting themes I noticed for all 4 of these shows was like, what does it mean to be an individual when the systems surrounding you are becoming bigger, faster, and harder to understand? I think that ties all 4 of these. Gankutsuou debatable, but like that's as close as I was able to squeeze it into one. But I think Ghost in the Shell as a title is about like the soul inside of a machine. What does it mean to have individuality when you are a created being? Aren't we all created beings? Some good old classic Asimovian sci-fi. So Asimov sci-fi stuff. It's great.
Okay. Okay, so that helps me understand part of how the episodes are titled. Which I'll say right now. So we watched episode 1, SA, which I'm assuming stands for standalone, and this is one of the standalones, not one of the complex. SA, Public Security, Section 9, and then Section 9 again in bold.
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Written by Kenji Kamiyama, directed by Toshiyuki Kawano. It aired on October 1st, 2002 on Animax. Alan, what happened in Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, Episode 1, SA, Public Security, Section 9, Section 9?
In this episode, at a geisha house, the female androids have gone out of control. They've taken 2 members of a foreign body hostage, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Minister's Secretary, and the head of the Minister's Support Association. The situation is further complicated by a feud over authority between the police and the military. Section 9 Chief Aramaki lends a helping hand and brings in his unit to resolve the crisis. And just as we go along, we find out that the geisha thing was a false front so that we could put a brain inside of a brain and install our assassin program into a political figure.
Yeah.
And we just have to accept that and move on. That just happened.
I think people, if you've not watched this episode, give it a watch. It's very intriguing. But spoiler alert: the Americans are the villainous force in this episode. Fucking Americans coming in and dictating how Japan's foreign policies work through certain underhanded tactics. Very interesting. Just something to think about there for a little while. What year did this show come out in, by the way?
This was good question.
2002.
2002. Yeah, interesting. Interesting time to think about all of these things.
Listen, the manga came out, the movies came out. We're like deep into the Ghost in the Shell hole by this point. But I see what you're saying. Obviously, it's in the zeitgeist. The Americans are being.
It's what they do. It's what they do. The Ghost in the Shell, the movie, is very philosophical, very musing, and the show from the very beginning is very political.
Yes,
this episode's very politically driven. It's so fascinating because I think for a lot of people, Ghost in the Shell, it's synonymous with the Major. Like, you know her. You know that face. You know that image. But this episode, like, she's there. But it's actually about the Chief. This episode's mainly about him and how like, he operates the world and how he has to, like, to get one thing done, he has to talk, like, to 18 different people and investigate them while he's talking to them and, like, all of these things. And at first, it's very, confronting and overloading you with so much, but by the end of it you're like, oh no, what he wanted to do was fairly simple, but to do that job is fucking hard.
A lot of work. Before we get too deep though, Magellan, what's your history or familiarity with Ghost in the Shell, or GITS if you're nasty?
Really not much. I knew it was like a cyberpunk thing with a lady, and it sure is, and that's awesome. and more. It's more than that too, but I didn't know much about it coming into it.
Amazing. Ryan, but you said you watched this?
Yeah, I've watched this. This was one of the first animes, as I stated, that I consumed on my own when I was younger. I think I mainly remember the second series more, second gig more, but
Yeah.
I did rewatch this earlier in the year and it stands up very well. I love the movies. I'm looking forward to watching more of the current Ghost in the Shell show that's on. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's lots of interesting stuff. You've also already done Pat Labor, and
True.
this is by a lot of the same people as Pat Labor, and it's actually like interesting conversation because Pat Labor's like, what happens if we did this with big mechas and it was more about like first responders, and then this shows like, what happens if we did this with like androids and it's more about like a weird little security task force, and we get into the politics more. So interesting kind of back and forth between those shows, but also Ghost in the Shell. I love this crew of people. I love this episode is like, do you like competency? Do you like watching people do their jobs and do them very well and uncover a thing and get little character bits in between? And as a Star Trek fan, I also have to say I love watching episodes where they just do their job really good. This episode was so satisfying to me. I was like, yes, give me more of this. Give me more of the Major standing there. And she's like, so what's happening? And Aramaki's just like, oh, I've already got it handled. I'm investigating him because he's my friend. That's why I'm doing this, by the way. It's like, yes.
Yeah, there's a great scene where that we figure out that there was the brain swap and everybody figures it out and wants to be the first one to explain it to everybody else. Like, do you understand what this means? And it's like, no, I understand what it means. And it means what? But let me say, cool. Everybody gets it. And we're good at our kind of counterintelligence thing. It's fun.
I love it. I love it so much. I real quickly, so I knew that the Wachowski sisters were heavily inspired by the Ghost in the Shell movie when they made The Matrix. That's like what I was referring to earlier. The Matrix owes a lot to this. The outfits, the leather, that actually comes from Ghost in the Shell, amongst other things. They're fucking weebs and always have been. So there's that, and then I watched the movie when I was younger and I didn't really get it. And then got Great Gundam Project, which were like key to me getting over the last 10 years into like popular anime, covered all of Standalone Complex, and that's when I watched the first movie again, the second movie, which is one of the best animated movies I've ever seen. I think I can say that confidently. Ghost in the Shell 2 is fucking Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence is insanely good. They could write books about it, and they should. And then I watched Standalone Complex season 1, and I was like, okay, this is like good sci-fi CSI, like cyberpunk CSI. This is great, or not CSI, or like a Law and Order or something. It's it's gone. Then there's some political stuff going on with the complex episodes that we could talk about if we cover the show. And then, as you said, Ryan, season 2 is much more of a singular thing, and I found much more like engaging on a literary level and not just on like this is, like you said, competency. The show. I think season 2 of Standalone Complex is like way more focused, and everything after that, don't give a fuck. I don't need to watch Scarlett Johansson. I don't need to watch the 3D one on Netflix. I am actually curious about the current airing Is it Ufotable doing it? They're doing like an anime adapting the manga more explicitly, if I'm not mistaken.
That's
which
correct.
sounds
because the manga is very different. It's more silly and more horny.
Yeah. I'm curious about that.
Well, with the film, and then in turn this, Mamoru Oshii did the film, and he has a very specific style. He's very meditative. He's very, very much contemplative. He's very much about atmosphere. And that's what this show is like, obviously riffing on. Same with the Pat Labor show. Like, he did the Pat Labor OVA, and then the Pat Labor show is like, how can we riff on that? So it's kind of interesting, like his influence on the industry. I mean, Satoshi Kon, who does Paranoia Agent, got his start on Pat Labor doing character design. So even that you can see with Paranoia Agent, that kind of weird contemplative meditative thing is there in its own way. But yeah, no, I like Standalone Complex. I like just this episode has so much going on in it, and it has all of these characters you have to keep focused in on, but it knows exactly like when to be like, okay, let's just have the scene be about this character. You're getting this guy, like, okay, Bato, he's like the big muscle guy. You get that, right? Like, he's a goofy guy, but when he needs to be stern, he's stern and serious. The Major, she's in charge. She knows her shit, but doesn't mean she gets everything done herself. Like, she has to delegate between all of these different people. She has her boss that does stuff. Like, that's something I love about all of the Ghost in the Shells that I've watched is everyone matters. Everyone does their thing. Like Togasa, he's the one that discovers like the brain swap thing. And he's great. Like he's only got 1 or 2 moments in this episode, but like you understand
so
like, oh, he's the only
good.
one that's not like a cyborg. He's like the only guy who's not a cyborg. And they're like, you kind of suck. But then he's the guy that discovers like the crux of the issue. So it's like, see, sometimes being like the normal guy matters.
Yeah.
True.
It's especially fun because there's the scene where the Major's like, you should be a cyborg. It would make things way easier for you. And he's like,
Wait,
okay,
no.
I don't want to, but good talk.
But we could talk to you in your ear. We don't have to ever open our mouths or animate lip flaps because we all talk to each other through our little earpiece.
You're wasting all this time like training to use your gun. Just be a cyborg, dude. It'd be way easier.
Download gun.exe. It's so easy. Yeah. I love this. Is like one of my favorite anime ensembles. Togasa the idiot, my himbo dad, Bateau. Bateau is so goofy. There's even a part in this one where he smiles. He's so charming. Whenever Bateau smiles, I need like, capture that smile and put it in a little box. He's so, I love him with like fucking
suspect
heart.
He captures, like he manages to like wrangle this guy and put him on the road in a headlock. They nearly get hit by a car, and then the guy's neck fritzes out. It's like, oh no, this bad thing. He just gives this goofy look and just goes, uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oops. Didn't manage that one. Like, I'm important to the group, but I'm not really good at like the little things like that. I'm good at like hitting people. I like when they're invading the place to like get the hostages out and do all of that, and they all have their cloaking devices and they're all moving stealthily, and then he puts his on and it's just clunk clunk clunk, like you could hear him no matter where you are. It's just such good attention to detail in sound design, and getting you to understand like each one of these people have their certain things. Like even just the fun of the sniper, he has an eye patch. Like that's just a fun detail with him. Like he has an eye patch, so he uses his one good eye for killing, and it's like, oh, that's good.
I think it does the Cowboy Bebop thing where world building is handled kind of in the background and really quickly and efficiently. Like the whole brain swapping thing is the idea is one of the like government people switches brains with geishas on purpose for kink reasons. Move on. Just like they just say that, they're like, wait, hold on, that's huge. That means so much for like how sex works in this world. Well, no, that's it. They just say that. That's what I love, and why this is one of my favorite pieces of cyberpunk. Is it's just so confident in telling you, here's what our world is like. It's weird. It's dirty, it's sad, and here are the most competent people in it, and some of them aren't even human, and yet you're still gonna like them. How do you feel about that? The confidence of the show is nuts.
I think what I like about the way that the show uses technology, to your point, Alan, and it's similar with Cowboy Bebop, is science fiction where the point is like not that the technology presents us with a totally different society, but rather it gives us technology and is like, look, it made everything more like it is. And so now you can, in a way, see some of these dynamics and systems and ways that we interact with the world with fresh eyes because you're seeing it in different context, but it is the same thing. Like this whole, the politicians are going to the sex clubs and they're meeting up in the bathrooms and what's going on? It's like, yeah, what is going on today? Like
in our world,
whoever, why are they anti-gay but then being gay, or whatever.
Wait until you see what the Major's got going on sexually. Oh boy.
Sure.
Queer icon, the Major from Ghost in the Shell.
Sure. Even just something like the book of stuff, like the book of the whatever secrets, it's just like a book of QR codes, but there's still the scene of like trying to read it. I'm so stressed, like fuck, I'm trying to read it, they're gonna catch me, and I'm like, the QR codes are error. It's like we can reinvent reading with cybernetic eyeballs, but we're still gonna like exist as human people in relation to those things. And I really like when shows use technology like that.
And the cost of technology, like it is beneficial to these characters in lots of ways. They have cloaking technology. Like we are following a task force, so they are using it for military means. But what does it mean on a day-to-day basis? for a lot of them. And like for the instance, that scene that you just mentioned of the bad guy looking at the QR codes and realizing it's all fucked, one of the most interesting and one of the most damning shots of the entire episode is we get a close-up on his eye and you see the manufacturer of the eyeball. Like you see in his iris that this eye is owned by someone else. Like that there is just such a quintessential thing of like, don't forget, someone owns this. Someone else made this. There's always degrees of separation, but always there's a connective thing. Like I said, like Aramaki in this episode, he has to jump through so many hoops to get one thing done. And the thing is, you managed to make the plane get delayed by 15 minutes. So that way we could arrest this guy. And it's like you watched a whole episode of him having to meet up in the park and do this, do that, and all he got out of it was just that. But it was worth it. It was worth it. But then he has to bluff it off by him being like, well, that's Section 9 for you. Like that's us for you. I did the hard work and off we go, being badasses. But it's like, oh, you just skated by.
I love the little pat that he gives to that guy's arm. Like, see you later, pal.
Yeah.
But it's affectionate. It's a genuinely affectionate pat, because that's the thing too that I love is in this episode you get the summary of like these people have to verse the military of Japan and whatever, but like you see in the episode like they all have genuine admiration and affection for one another. Like they all are working on the same side, but they're parts of different body government systems that have to do things, and it's like, well, off you go and do that, but like, see you later, buddy. Like, and he means it. Like, see you later, buddy. It's like there's no antagonism there. It's just like our jobs mean that we have to have conflict with one another, but like there's no animosity there.
It's once again what I said, like the overarching theme is, right? Bigger, faster, and harder to understand. Like, what does it mean to be a member of Section 9 when your body, your brain, and the ghost inside of your shell is even owned by somebody else? What does it mean for us to empathize with these characters who are so much more machine than human, and yet we still like them? And what is that? What is that feeling? The show like really rips into that idea and like unravels it, and by the end you're like, I don't even know what I think human means. And that's like, to me, that's Neuromancer, that's like 101 cyberpunk. It's so juicy. I think you guys are talking about Aramaki. I really wanted to quickly shout out my favorite thing about Aramaki in this episode, besides the fact that he's on the good guy side. All this hard work, all this hard stuff to have these little meetings, these stressful meetings. Can you please just do this thing? One of the last meetings of the episode where he's like, okay, can we just delay the plane? The thing at the ticker at the bottom says 5:48 a.m. It's like, bro, it's not even sleeping. What is sleeping when you don't need to sleep? It's 5:40 in the morning, and he's like, can you please not do a terrorist plot? I'm begging you. I just love that detail. Like, time doesn't matter in this. It's nighttime all the time. It's morning all the time.
And the beauty of animation too, I think, some people will like, as adults, you go, well, I don't need to watch animation. That's kid stuff, or I just watch it for a comedy. It's like the nuances aren't there. But what I love about all of these shows, but Standalone Complex does it really well, is you can get performance. Like, the performance that you would see from a live action performer, those little ticks and nuances are captured here. Like each one of our characters presents themselves one way physically and then shows another. Like with Aramaki, like he plays up being a little old man. Like they design him, he's shorter than everyone else. But then you see when that meeting at the park is done, he stands up and he's got like this, barrel chest out, and he just walks off, and it's just like, it's a performance. He's playing the little old man, but then he knows how to turn on being like I'm the chief for a fucking reason. And same with, with the major, she's very stoic. But then you see at the very beginning, the cold open of this, she's like got this anger underneath. Like she is almost about to kill a guy in cold blood because she could. And then you have, the team come in, and you see like the look on her face of like shutting down that emotion and just going into the blank face. And it's like, oh, these are things that, you may not think of when you just see a still of these characters, but this show manages to capture all of those little micro expressions and body language stuff with really no need to point it out. It's just naturally there.
I love that moment where she's so pissed and she's like, if you have a problem with it or whatever, wear a blindfold, zip your mouth, and live in a cave. Or the alternative. It's like, I could fucking shoot you right now. That's pretty great.
the most badass. Any stray notes on this first episode? I know we've talked about the big picture of why it's good, but what else did we like?
It's almost 2030 in our life, so
yeah,
it's fun.
Yay! We're so close to this.
This will be us soon.
This will be us soon. Yeah.
I think that's one of my favorite things. Also
no,
about
I mean,
the show
this-
is just quickly, it is cyberpunk, and it is only 4 years away. And the further they get into some of this stuff, the more you're like, we're not as far from this as I would like. We're a little bit too close to all of this. This feels bad. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it doesn't
Sorry.
feel good. So, connective things. The voice of Togusa is the same voice actor who did Spike in the Japanese. So that's fun.
Sure.
And the music is the same as well. That's Yoko Kanno does the themes here, and and the OP and ED are very interesting. I love the OP to this show. I love just that kind of haunted vibe. I like the kind of early 2000s 3D CG thing, but it's lit in such a way where it's like a dream. It's very dreamy. It's very bizarre, and I like it. But no, I just thought that was of note of just like, oh, these two shows that we're first talking about have direct relations to one another, and like the music is very different in this show to Cowboy Bebop, but again, it still captures that thing of like the music can just carry a scene. Like, let's just drown out the things and just let the score tell you what you need to know. So yeah, this is another one where it's like these four that we're talking about are all very confident shows. They start out the gate going, this is my style, this is my mood, this is my theme, you're going to be here for it or not.
And of course the ED of Standalone Complex, just incredible math. Just talking about how cool a woman is by describing her as incredible math.
Yeah, it's awesome.
No notes. Nary a note. Yeah, I don't have any big one. John, did you have any other ones?
Nope.
Okay.
That's it.
Oh, I really wanted to quickly shout out. We talked about the pre-pod, the post credits. We are introduced. We don't get to see them much in this episode, but the Tachikomas.
Right. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was
so
the best I've ever
for
seen.
those who don't know, if you ever choose to watch Standalone Complex, stay through the credits because you get these little segments at the end of every episode called Tachikomatic Days. The Tachikoma are these like sentient mech machines that assist Section 9 and exist all over the city. Like you can climb inside of them and use them to fight, and they do that sometimes.
Yeah,
but they're spider tank, but they're mostly just like silly little fellas who are like a little too sentient. And the Tachikomatic Days are them talking to each other really quickly in the span of like a 30-second sequence, being like, hey, have you ever thought about, and in this one they're talking about like, hey, words are like not useful. We have the ability to communicate with things that are like better than words. Why do other people still use language? And then one of them, because they're owned by the Major, or at least these ones are, or controlled, like she controls their chip. And he's like, do you think that she uses language on purpose for a reason she won't tell us? And then they're like, never mind. Don't worry about it. Like, wait, what do you mean language has purpose? It's on some Metal Gear Solid 5 Skullface type shit.
That is the thing about these that are interesting is like the actual character only appears briefly in this episode and is scolded for running late, which is very funny. The thing I like about these is they're almost presented like your Looney Tunes. Like here's a little cartoon after the thing that's just like a silly fun time, but I do like that it still jam packs it with all of the philosophical shit that you have from Ghost in the Shell. So that's fun. And I do believe the voice actress of these characters is the real life wife of the guy who voices Shah in Gundam. So that's kind of fun. But no, I like those. When I first watched it on TV years ago, it didn't have any of these. So when I eventually owned them on Blu-ray, I was like, ooh, this is fun. These are fun.
Treat.
Yeah, they're delicious and so satisfying.
Yeah.
Highly recommend sticking through for all of it. It's like watching, you can't watch Venture Brothers without staying for after the credits because you'll literally miss a huge chunk of the story. It's similar to that. You're like, you have to watch. They're not gonna like answer anything about the show, but they get your brain in the right headspace. Just make you think about stuff. Yeah. Anyways, we're having a lot of fun, but let's take a break and refresh our water bottles and whatnot. And when we come back, we're gonna get a little silly as we talk about Paranoia Agent and Gankutsuou.
The silliest show.
It's such a wacky. Back after this. Hello and welcome back to Toon Couch Toon Madness, the podcast where we're all getting a little paranoid. Agent, who's coming for me? Who's coming for me? Oh my god! Stop! I'm being chased. My chunkless. Quit it. My heels. I'm wearing heels. I can't run.
Don't chase. I would hate it if you chased
No,
me right
quit
now.
it. If you were I'm such an agent of paranoia. Please quit it. Stop. Okay. This is one of my favorite shows. One of my favorite anime we're watching. It's Paranoia Agent by Satoshi Kon. The first episode is called Enter Lil Slugger. And it was written by Seishi Minakami and directed by Takayuki Hirao. It was storyboarded by creator Satoshi Kon. And it aired February 3rd, 2004 on Wow Wow. Michelle, can you tell me what happened in Paranoia Agent episode 1, please? To the best of your ability?
Sure.
Good luck.
In this episode, Tsukiko Sagi, a shy character designer who's having trouble creating her next character, feels pressured and overwhelmed. At the height of her despair, she's suddenly attacked by an individual with a golden baseball bat. When a pair of detectives interrogate her, she describes the suspect as an elementary school-aged boy wearing golden inline skates and a red hat. The media preys on the story, and a sleazy reporter tails Tsukiko in an attempt to get further details. What did we think of Paranoia Agent?
What a show.
You like it, huh?
I'm
Ryan,
just
have you
never-
seen it? What's your deal with
Yeah.
it?
So as I was saying, the first half, I do believe, like, I'm familiar with this director's work, and this was the last thing of his I had watched. And I
That's
only
right,
watched
you
it
were saving it.
within the last year. I have it on physical. You know, it's one of those things where it's just like, oh man, I've got to watch this eventually. And I knew the general premise was like, oh, there's like a crime wave or a certain individual out there hitting people with baseball bats. It's like a little kid in rollerblades. You know, it's like, oh, little slugger or shonen bats, depending how you're watching it. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then I watched it, and boy, what a show! It's one of those ones where, like we were talking about with Cowboy Bebop, where it's like, how do you describe it? Because how do you talk about it? Because everything's been said, and it's such an impenetrably great show. This is kind of on the end of how do you talk about it because it's so dense and weird and strange and delightful. And it's like, where do you start? It's almost like when you start Twin Peaks, and you're like, there's so much here happening here, but it's a simple premise when you describe it. But then you're like, yeah, but what about like the reporter guy who's like animated like a greasy toad man? Like, what about that? You know, like,
He
what's
is like the
going on?
Toads
But-
in Spirited Away. He totally is that, but as a human.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and you know, I like this series a lot. It's still one where I'm still chewing on it after all of this time. I'm like, what a show this is. And revisiting this first episode, I did have a bit of a kick of like, oh, I see how these things make sense in retrospect, but it's still
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, this was a COVID, been very much a code watch for me because I was just at the gym today with my girlfriend, and I was saying how I used to go to that gym until March of 2020, and then they emailed us and they were like, hey, so there's this thing, so you guys can't come in anymore, but we'll give you remote classes. And I didn't want to do that, so I canceled my gym membership, but I was still on the like track of working out. Like I was still on that habit. And so I was like, well, I have to work out before I lose this habit. And then so I would go on the treadmill like early in the morning before work or sometimes after work and just run the treadmill for like 23 minutes or so, which is coincidentally the length of an episode of Paranoia Agent. So there was like 2 weeks where either at like 8 in the morning or 5 o'clock in the evening, I would watch an episode of Paranoia Agent, and that was the length of my treadmill run. So this is a treadmill watch for me, and it's so singular. I like Satoshi Kon's movies more than this, but I cannot get over how much this show is itself. It is what it's doing exactly what it's trying to do. And Ryan, as you said, the more you know about it, the more you're like, okay, that actually does make sense. But when I watched this the first time, that didn't make any fucking sense. So like, it kind of opens up like a puzzle box in a way, but not in the like, there's one answer and you're all gonna fucking get it. It's just like, oh, there's like a philosophical thought that once you know it will make the show a lot simpler and straightforward. Because after this episode, it goes on to just be like individual stories, which is really important. Like the fact that it is individual stories of people who are affected by shonen bad across Japan. And I love it for that. I love the singularity of it. It's just so special to me.
It's a nice 13 episode run. Nice
Crisp.
and quick and to the point.
In and out, no
Crisp,
movie,
nice animation.
no follow-up, obviously.
Done.
And it will
Dusted.
answer everything you have.
So,
yeah.
I'm curious, Magellan, were you aware of this show, and are you aware of Satoshi Kon by any chance?
I'd heard of the show, but I knew nothing about it because in my head, for some reason, Paranoia Agent. I think other things with Agent or Paranoia in the name. I thought there was going to be like some kind of a sci-fi or something, whatever. So I didn't know anything about it. Satoshi Kon. We watched Tokyo Godfathers a couple years ago on the Patreon.
We did.
I think that's the only Satoshi Kon thing I've seen, but I have heard of like Paprika and like other movies of his
Blue.
before. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this had very little expectation beyond what I remembered stylistically about Tokyo Godfathers, which is this kind of deep interest in just like regular people, but that interest being flavored with a kind of magical realism or like a willingness to be like, what if there's something weird going on too, which I vibe with. So am I understanding correctly that the show, we're not going to see these characters again? Like each episode is like a new set of characters, or
each episode focuses on different people, but we will see several of these characters. Like the detective is the detective for the whole show. And the girl, Shikiko, is at the center of the mystery. But other than that, it's the detective investigating other cases involving Shonen Bat.
And like vignette little things in this episode obviously will come back. You know, like the homeless lady that randomly appears. Like these are little things that...
The old man writing.
Yeah, the structure is like... Yeah, the old man writing. The structure is like, what next person, but do they have a connection with the previous thing? And then eventually it kind of all starts to intermingle and so on and so forth.
Okay, cool. So there's kind of... I like what that structure sounds like, because it was really cool to see this episode hint at like a wider world, but really spend such like deep, focused, attentive time on Tsukiko and on this like gross frogman reporter guy. And I was so struck by like how much I enjoyed watching that fucking guy on the screen. The grosser he got, the more I was like, give me more of this guy. Like when he's in the library looking stuff up, he's like, all right, kids, here's the like porn image. I'm like, this guy sucks.
Yeah,
I want to watch him tie a cherry stem in his mouth and like smack his lips. Like
you would love Paprika. You would fucking love Paprika.
Full of gross men.
That film is filled with like that guy, but like almost every character is that. It's awesome. Yeah. It's weird.
It reminded me of when we talked about the Oscar movies last year, and we watched The Substance, and there's that scene early in The Substance with Dennis Quaid.
Yeah,
it's like close up on Dennis Quaid eating a sandwich or something. It's
no,
like
he's eating shrimp.
Sandwich, a shrimp. That's what it was.
Shrimp.
Oh god,
dunking it. Yeah. I mean, Satoshi like Kon, for instance, as well. Like he's a guy that we talked about, like the West steal. He's Darren Aronofsky's film career is just stealing from him, like,
and a lot of Christopher Nolan.
I can't get into it. Nolan as well, Inception and Paprika. Yeah, there's a lot, but there's a whole bunch. But like Aronofsky has this whole weird convoluted thing that no one understands, where he had to like buy the rights to Perfect Blue so we can recreate scenes from it, but then also say I wasn't inspired by it. I had to buy the rights so that you won't say that I was stealing from it. And it's like, what? Well, long story short, Darren Aronofsky now makes AI films, so he is a thief. So there you go.
Yeah.
No, one of the things I really like about Paranoia Agent was, for me, in my experience, this was the last thing that I consumed. Like this, I left this for last for this director. It's his only show that he did as well. So I was curious because he has 4 films. 2 of them are very sweet, very sentimental, very earnest, like Tokyo Godfathers and Millennium Actress are very earnest.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other two, Perfect Blue and Paprika, are like mean and nasty and cynical and cruel. And I was like, what will this be?
Mm-hmm.
And even this episode is just like both. You get a bit of both.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that a lot, Ryan, actually. Like, is Satoshi Kon's work overall prescriptive, or is it like, is it finger waggy? Is it cynical in the traditional way? Is it optimistic? Because once again, my connecting theme, what does it mean to be an individual, and the systems surrounding you are becoming bigger, faster, and harder to understand? A lot of Paranoia Agent is about collective understanding and collective responsibility, which, we always try to be careful when we talk about anime on chats that, like, we don't just talk about the bombs. But I think Paranoia Agent does have this kind of idea of, like, if I can blame all my problems on one thing, then they're not my problems anymore. They're just this kid, and they don't have to be me anymore. And, like, that's kind of like the overarching theme is Satoshi Kon essentially sitting you down and being like, it is everybody's problem when you're suffering. We are collectively supposed to work on this. You're not supposed to defer it and say, that's not me, that's someone else. Because that's how you end up with collective dissociation and collective, like, psychosis in a lot of ways. Whereas, like, even comparing it back to Tokyo Godfathers, it's a movie very explicitly like, everyone else's problems are your problems. We are collectively taking care of this kid. We collectively have responsibility for the homeless and for the people in our lives. It is not one person's responsibility to fix that. And we can't defer that and say, well, that's someone else. That's someone else. Because that's how we kind of end up in a society we are in today. That's very stratified, and people are angry at each other. We have this, it's very individualistic.
There's a conversation in this just with the premise as well of the generational divide and, like, gender divide as well. Like, this woman being this woman and her career obviously mirroring what the people who make this show are obviously aware of. But the striking image, like literally the striking image of a small child being the one that's behind this violent attack is striking. You can't avoid it. Like, it's the poster, it's the imagery that this show has, and it's a very alarming one. And I like that this plays with it. Like, and then afterwards it's like, well, that's a horrifying thing. Surely there won't be people who want to monopolize and capitalize on this. And then the reporter's like, what do you think we do? What do you think this is? Like, it doesn't exist in a vacuum. But also, if it did, we would hope that we would be nicer about it. But then this episode is like, no. Like, a violent sudden attack from a youth on this woman is, like, met with shock, but also met with people rubbing their hands going, ooh, there's something
That's a good story.
thrilling here.
Or the classic, and this is why I think starting with Tsukiko is so important, is the choosing, like, it's easier for me not to believe you. A kid would never do that. Kids don't do violent crimes. That wouldn't make any sense. So you're obviously crazy. It's so much easier to not believe than to just fucking believe.
But then there's a sick fascination that even us, the viewer, have of seeing that play out, because there is a part of you that believes that too. There's, like, a part of you that's like, no, a small child couldn't do such a thing. But then you're also like, but I want to watch the show that has
it's about that.
I'm sickly fascinated to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a reporter who's like, I am too, and you're like, oh no, am I that guy?
Am I? Yeah.
Oh no.
Gross.
Yeah, I love how this episode brings together these characters who feel like sincere actors and feel like completely craven actors, and explores, like, well, they're kind of part of the same society, and they are the way they are. There's, like, similar causes at the root of it, because we get this really amazing sequence at the beginning of the episode where it's almost like the overture at the beginning of a musical or something. It's like everybody's texting on their phones, and everybody's, like, canceling plans or on a phone call where they're like, well, it's not my problem, or
deferring
like,
responsibility. I can't do that.
Yeah. In every possible way, we're choosing to disconnect, we're choosing to push people away, we're choosing to abdicate responsibility. And it's, like, endemic in this society. We show that in, like, 30-45 seconds. And then it's like, okay, now in this world where the norm is, you've got more and more shit getting piled on top of you because everybody around you is like deferring responsibility, and you're in this like capitalist grind. Now we're going to show you these characters who are becoming very different people as a result of that, and part of that is like the way that gender intersects with that kind of a culture, where if you're a guy like the reporter guy, you can sort of dissociate and detach from responsibility in this really like, I'm gonna leer at people and I'm gonna be predatory, and I'll kind of like perform apology or perform like, oh, I'm so sorry, or like, oh, I'll pay you whatever just to get my way out of these situations. And then you have this woman Sukiko who has the boss who's like, oh yeah, she'll do it, gets all the shit put upon her, and so her version of it is like, I'm just like fully dissociated from this. But you're still left with this question of like, I don't know, like creating the gossip stories, creating the highly commodified character designs. It all feels like those two things combined are what Lil Slugger is. Like Lil Slugger is a well-designed character who we want to gossip about.
Yeah.
And so we can have a character we empathize with and a character we dislike, but they're coming out of the same muck, and their work kind of contributes to the same problem. And like, what do we do about that? And I think that's a really cool set of questions to come out.
I like that with Little Slugger / Shonen Bat. Like for this show that we are watching, he's the mascot. Like he's the thing that you see be the show, and then her job is to kind of create these as well and to kind of play around with character stuff. And yet the mascot that exists in this scenario is like a twisted, putrefied version of that very concept where, hey, look, it's the golden boots and the bright red cap that, you would see characters like this wear in shows. Like if you're watching this in Japanese, the voice actor for, that character of Little Slugger is the guy who plays one of the leads in Victory Gundam, where he wears basically the same cap and he's like a little guy, and it's like, oh, okay. You're
That's
having
Uso?
fun here. And yeah, that's Uso. It's the same voice actor as Uso, who normally plays villainous little freaks. And so when he's Uso, it's kind of funny that he's not that. But the thing that I love about it too is like, there's this idea, especially in, talking about Japanese culture as well. It's not just the gender stuff here, but like her job, there's this kind of push and pull of we respect it, but we think it's lesser than.
Yeah.
We are in
Just
high
make the
demand of
thing.
what you do. Yeah, we're in high demand of what you do, but then also we don't care. You're insignificant. And you can get through the grind of working as an animator, a character designer, whatever it is. And this is a show made obviously by all of these people themselves. And it's like they understand. And very quickly in this episode, you get where her life is at and why, in a weird way, this incident is kind of like a refreshing change of pace for her, even though it's fucked. It's fucked.
Well, and Muromi, the little character that she made, is actually, I noticed this a lot on this watch. I didn't really get Muromi on my first watch of the show, but it clicked into place to me here. Muromi is the parallel to Shonen Bat, because Shonen Bat is like, well, all my problems aren't me. I didn't do anything wrong. I don't need to take responsibility. The kid did it. And Muromi is like capitalism made manifest, telling you nothing you did is bad. You're totally fine. Just go take a nap. Go back to work the next day. Just keep trying. Keep plugging along. Nothing's your fault. Nothing's your fault. Just relax. Just calm down. It's me, Muromi. Aren't I cute? Come on. And it's just this constant drilling thing of like, you don't have to take responsibility for your actions because we're all just here having fun and we're being cute. And it's like, that's something really dark and sad about that too.
Well, and it's like really impressive to me thematically how prescient this episode feels 22 years later, because Muromi is like kind of playing this cutesy sycophantic role that people cast like AI into sometimes in their life if they're like so detached and dissociated from the people around them. And it's like, I'm gonna like use AI as my therapist or like process my shit with it or whatever. And when that is like the most substantial place where you can find connection, it's going to be connection it's not going to be real connection. It's like engineered to make you feel comfortable. And what's wrong with that, or what's dangerous about that, which is surprisingly prescient.
I like the kind of magical, fantastical atmosphere that pervades this episode. Like, obviously, it's easy to point out like the extreme, gross out, weird character designs and animation, but I like little details like having the man writing on the ground, or the homeless woman, and or like there's a piece of graffiti that says Little Slugger, I do believe, early on as well. So even before this defining incident happens, it's almost like it's foretold that this will happen anyway. So when we get sequences where she's walking alone at night and you see this strange imagery, it's already been built up in your mind, even though this is still for like an average viewer out there. This is all weird. Within the episode itself, there's been this quiet build-up to this strangeness that happens here, and I really like how this series does that. Like, yeah, you have all these extremes, but then those extremes kind of mask the little details like that are subconsciously working in your mind.
Yeah,
I think my two biggest cultural connections to this series are obviously Twin Peaks, as you said, Magellan. This like same theme of collective responsibility. Or sorry, thank you, Ryan, for bringing that connection up. This like we all know what happened, and none of us did anything about it. We allowed it to happen, and then also, I already forgot my thought. Other show that's similar to this about collectors. It'll come to me. Regardless, it's just like a lot of shows have to have this kind of idea. It's like, well, whose problem is it? And let's think about that question. And sometimes we all just feel like fucking screaming. Like the OP to the show, which y'all just heard, is like, it's really memorable and really iconic, but the visual of it is so striking, and it's what makes it really unsettling. It's people standing on the edge of screaming and falling off of things and smiling while doing it, because we're putting on faces
still.
And completely still, and just kind of like eyes wide open, smiling and about to die, because it's this theme of like, we all feel like we're teetering on the edge of something. We don't know what it is. We're all scared. We're all anxious. And I guess we can just keep working through it and smiling through it. Maybe. And on the inside, we're hearing the theme song Paranoia Agent, which is just people screaming.
Yeah, and then the ED is like, perhaps rest is actually getting your head caved in, and you just have a nice little rest after everything. And the cutesy music plays, and you feel like, yes, now I'm finally drifting off from the horrors of my life, of my waking life.
Yeah.
So upbeat show.
Yeah, super fun, chill, good vibes.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of evokes thematically that last moment in Cowboy Bebop where it's like, can you really escape the grind, or do you just kind of die one day? Because there's something so I really love this visual presentation when we first meet Tsukiko, and she's in her cubicle, and the cubicle is full of like character sketches and plushes and designs. It's like she's done it. She's done the work. Like the problem is not, oh, I can't come up with any ideas. The problem is like it doesn't end. Like you're not supposed to be able to get out of it. That's not what it wants you to do. We need you to do more of it. So at a certain point, it's like, well, I made like the most famous fucking little guy you ever seen, and now you want me to do that again? What are we doing? I thought I could get out of this.
I thought this was art. I thought I was a creator.
Yeah.
No, sorry. You're supposed to sleep under your desk at work and keep grinding until you are burnt out. But that's not our fault. It's your fault, because you're a woman, you're a character, you're an artist, whatever. You're not important as long as you give us results. Like that cubicle scene is so malleable of how you can read that and extrapolate that out for the character and for your everyday life. Now, I this isn't a silly comparison, but I will bring it up. But like Office Space, for instance, is something we've talked about before, and that's such a universal story, even if you haven't worked in an actual office space, because you understand how the structures of responsibility and society and all that kind of grind you down and burn you out and just don't care. And talking about prescience, I mean, it's always been the case, but like if you pay attention to how, the Japanese animation industry works, this story is just again and again and again and again. They just grind you down. And we, the audience, will say, but I love Studio Trigger. They make amazing animated things. It's like, yeah, but at the cost of actual people. Oh, I loved the film Look Back. That was an amazing movie. Yeah, they literally had to sleep in the office under the desks to get it made. But it's such a good movie. And this shows the same, where it's just like, oh, look at this horrible thing, but ooh, Shonen Bat's such an interesting thing. I want to see it again. I want to see what this little freaky guy, who's not a character, it's a thing.
It's a concept. It's like, well, okay, what's he gonna do next? What's he gonna swing that bat at next? Like, I can't wait to find out. Who else is he gonna fix? Because he gets rid of the lascivious guy. He gets rid of our creep at the end of this one.
Yeah,
just bats him to death.
There's this sick thing in us as well, where, not to say everyone, but there is a huge part of us that wants to villainize the younger generations as well. Like, back in my day, things weren't as bad. Back in my day, kids didn't just break into your house and stab you and rob you and all of that. It was fine. Back in my day, literally when this show came out 20-something years ago, kids would just go around and hit you with baseball bats. It's, you know what I mean? Like, there is this thing, and this episode and this series is directly playing with that kind of paranoia, Paranoia Agent. And I think that's just, again, it plays both ways of, as a viewer who wants to watch a fun, entertaining show, I am salivating at the idea of it. But then also I'm recognizing that it's critiquing me. We mentioned Twin Peaks, that's the same thing. Like, you want to watch a show, but the show's like, yeah, you're watching a show about a teenage girl who got raped and murdered. And you want to watch that for fun. And you're like, oh, you're right.
But the cherry pie. And they have the return to be like, fuck you, stop asking for this.
Fire walk with me. It's just like, clean your hands.
God.
Yeah, and the thing about Shonen Bat being this representation of that kind of like hatred of younger generation, I think that often manifests as we're gonna hate on like the leisure activities of this younger generation, or like their interests or whatever, and try to construct, because you like this or spend your time this way, now we can justify disliking you. And it's sort of like, maybe actually what's happening there is this like deep resentment and grief over the fact that you can't participate in leisure in the way that a kid can, because now you're like in the fucking grind of the machine. So like, you just want to kind of hate. And so Shonen Bats, it's like the bat is gold, the skates are gold. Like, everything tied to those kind of young kid leisure activities are the most striking aspects of the character design. The fact that he smiles when he hits people, it's like, why are you so fucking happy about this? You fuck, I hate kids. So it's a really interesting
and I think a part of that kind of complex that we have as a society, especially nowadays as well, is, and this episode from all this time ago understands this as well, is we have access to information so much through the digital age. So you read weird little incidents like this and you think, oh, that's the standard. That's happening so much.
Right.
And that's what this gets into it too, like the texting and all these people, like they're so connective, even though like, obviously we're looking at this, all this time later, and you're like, oh, there's so much more to it. But I have to commend it as well. Like, there's this show really has its finger on the pulse of so many interesting little aspects, all within 23 minutes.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
I have two notes about what this show makes me think about. The first one is, we're talking about the grind and the idea that the point of the grind is never for you to finish. It's the point for you to grind, to do it. That reminds me of my first day at this current job, where, I've worked jobs before. I've worked office jobs before where I have big task lists and they never end, and you kind of make them for yourselves. And the point is to keep working. I understand that. And I started this one, and I said to somebody whose desk was next to me, I was like, I don't really have like a queue yet. And he was like, don't worry. Once you have a queue, you'll never not have a queue until you retire. And I was like, oh God, this is literally the last time for the next like 10 plus years that I will have an empty email queue. And the point is that it doesn't go down. And it's just, I thought about that, anti-capitalist themes. And then the other one related to what y'all were just talking about is it makes me the show, and this was happening in 2020 when I watched it too, and in the 2000s, frankly. This like makes me think about my mom sending me links on Facebook and being like, "Did you see that this thing happened? This kid beat this guy up in like 6 towns over, and that makes me worried about you." And I'm like, it's the collective problem. Like, it's easier to be like, well, there's just these insane people out there who are attacking and stabbing people, instead of thinking like, maybe we don't know how to house the homeless in the United States, or maybe people are hungry and angry and hot, and you know, there are systemic issues that we'd rather not think about. Instead, just be like, well, there's bad people out there. It's totally that. And no offense to my mom, she's being fed the same algorithm everyone else is. I don't want to make this sound like a
when you take in information that way, you end up just being fearful of things that are not dangerous to you. Like the fact that Tsukiko, when she's sitting with the reporter guy, hears people skating. Well, I guess she was actually attacked. So so that's kind of different. But I think that's representative of kind of what you're describing, Alan, which is like, oh, now and what you were speaking to, Ryan, like, oh, every kid on skates is going to hit me with a baseball bat, which is like, well, that's not really how that works.
Just incredible series made by very talented people, and all of these all of these shows are one of a kind. All of them are one of a kind, and in seminal works that influence things after them, but they're all one of a kind. And it's hard to be like, what else is there to say other than like Paranoia Agent, made by some of the greats, is great.
Pretty good. Yeah.
But we've said a lot about all of these little nuances of a show that, someone, if you showed this to someone, they could just write it off of like, oh, that's weird. That was a weird one.
Yeah, that's always been my biggest goal with like covering anime on this show, is to just don't always bring up the same 3 things we always talk about with anime culturally. And number 2 is to not just be like, it was weird, I didn't really get it. Like, if I'm saying that as a critic, then I feel like I've basically failed as a critic and as a media consumer.
Off.
What are you doing? Why are you watching TV and talking about it on a podcast and getting paid to do it sometimes? Like,
I love when people review stuff or talk about stuff that's not weird, and they're like, that was weird. Widow's Bay, pretty weird. I'm like,
you don't know the half of it.
The show is composed of like 18 obvious cultural references that you have seen before. It's not doing anything or it's doing them well, but it's not doing them weirdly.
Yeah.
Shall we move on?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Here it comes, folks. It's our last show of the night. My room is getting hotter and hotter. If you don't notice, I am sweating through my shirt. It's time for Gankutsuou, the Count of Monte Cristo. We watched episode 1. At Journey's End, we meet. This show was written by Mahiro Maeda and Shuichi Koyama and directed by series creator Mahiro Maeda. It aired literally like a couple months after, the last one. October 6th, October 6th, 2004. So within the same year. Magellan, what happened in Gankutsuou, the Count of Monte Cristo?
In this episode, childhood friends Viscount Albert de Mortemersurf and Baron Franz de Pipenay, the children, it's close enough. Children of wealthy nobles from Paris, are on vacation and attending an annual carnival on Luna, which is the moon, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Albert is captivated by the Count of Monte Cristo while at an opera performance. While Albert tails the Count unknowingly drops his pocket watch, which Albert uses to set up a meeting with the Count. When he tries to return the watch, he and Franz are invited to dinner during the final spectacle of the Carnival. Albert is offered a chance to pardon one of 3 murderers by choosing 1 out of 3 playing cards, but randomly chooses the boastful murderer, Rocca Buriol, to his surprise and dismay. He tries to lose himself for the night with a girl, but she suddenly pulls a gun on him. Well,
pretty dense.
Said right there, yeah. So Ryan, you read the book Count of Monte Cristo by
Alexander Dumas.
I like to call him. Yeah.
Yes, Dumas. Yeah, when I was
Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ryan.
When I was about 13, I went on a real reading streak of like classics. Like I read, a couple of Dickens. I read Count of Monte Cristo. I read Moby Dick, Frankenstein, Catch 22. I was just wanting to read some like dense, like let's get into this. And the Count of Monte Cristo, it's been a while since I've read it, but it's such an expansive piece. And what I really loved about it, and what this show gets at, is it's got this. With any literary classic, there's like this idea of like they're stuffy. They're hard to get into. They're serious. But what I love about the Count of Monte Cristo is it's this grand operatic pulpy opera like revenge story.
Yeah.
And the Count himself is like a means to an end. And when I was looking for adaptations to watch, I never only until recently did I watch the American film from the 2000s with Guy Pearce, but I went with this one because not only did it look great, but I love adaptations that go in a different direction but still have a heart to it, because the main conceit of this adaptation is the main character, Albert, is only in like a couple of chapters of the actual original source material. He is a means to an end for the Count. And this shows like, no, what happens if we took it from that character and his friend's point of view? And we remove the context of the Count from them because they don't know it. And the audience, if you know it, there's extra stuff to sink your teeth into. And if you don't, it's an intriguing tale of what is this guy's deal. And I just love that because I think sometimes, like for instance, earlier this year, Wuthering Heights came out and people were very sniffy about like, it's not got the heart of the story. And I'm not going to agree or disagree with that, but I think my initial hesitance of people who critique things like that is, oh, you can't have a story that's not exactly like The Thing. Well, sometimes you can. Like, No Other Choice came out a little while ago too, and that's an adaptation of a novel, and it's very different, but it has a lot of things in common, but it's really well done, and it captures the heart of that story. And I think that this show does that as well with a very unique take. Like they're reading this story and they go, I really empathize or think about this character. What would it be like from their point of view? And I'm immediately like, yeah, feed me that. I want to see that. And this is what you get. And there's so much more to discuss. But yeah, that's my history and connection with this show and the source material.
Nice. What about you, Magellan?
So every year for my birthday, and Alan knows this, over the past few years, I've done this thing where there's like a local movie theater down the street, rent the movie theater, watch a movie with my friends, then everybody come home, we're gonna do some trivia questions that I made up. And it's I figured out how to do my birthday in a way that I really like, and I've been doing that. And the most recent one last year, the movie I chose was the Jim Caviezel, Guy Pearce, Count of Monte Cristo adaptation. Because that was one of the DVDs in my household growing up that I just like watched over. I've seen that movie probably like 20 fucking times or something. And the like consensus among all the people that were at the birthday party and watched the movie coming out of it was like, going into that, like I hadn't heard of this movie. I was a little skeptical, but that was really fun because it captures exactly what you were describing, Ryan. That's so fun about the book, which is like, it's pulpy. There's this like swashbuckling kind of air to it. There's this big, like, I'm the Count and I'm coming down from a hot air balloon to land right in front of you. It's bombastic and we're going to sword fight. And because I think part of the point of the story is watching Edmond Dantes get kind of carried away by the Count fiction and like getting so wrapped up in this quest and desire for revenge that he's like losing himself in the process. And you watch this character, because you follow him linearly, go from, oh, you're just like a sweet little kid, to like, where are you going, man? Like you're disappearing into this desire for vengeance. And I also, because I don't know like as much of the story because I haven't read the book, but because I'm so familiar with that movie's telling of it, I was also really impressed and struck by the choice to start it with Albert and start it with him meeting the Count, because it completely changes like the vector that you're following through the story, because it's not about like, okay, I knew Edmond Dantes and now I'm watching him change. It's like I'm uncovering all this shit about this guy who was mysterious and cool, and now it's like, wait, what's your deal? Oh my gosh. So I was, as soon as it was Albert, I was like, whoa,
Good
that
choice.
is fresh and interesting. I like that a lot.
Pop quiz for you. Who played Albert in the film?
I wanted to say it. It's fucking Henry Cavill. I was trying to say you had never shut the fuck up. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just kidding. Of course. Yeah, that was Henry Cavill.
Yeah, great Henry Cavill performance in there. And it allows the show to lead with like, it's fucking Carnival, and like everybody's wearing the coolest shit you ever seen, and it's fireworks, and like the show can do what it wants to do, which is be this visual marvel. Like I've never seen something that looks the way that this show does, where it's like scrapbooky and
mosaic,
the characters mosaic, and the way that like the patterns of my shirt, when I move, the pattern isn't on my shirt is on the pattern, and I'm like sliding across it, and
my
the way
hair
that makes you, the hair too, and you're like, what does that mean about like the characters and the roles that they play in this world, and like how much they really kind of are in control of their presentation versus like they're just a part of this tapestry. And all of that can come through in the visuals because you're starting with Albert, and it makes sense for his character because he's like getting suckered into the Count's ruse. So the show can be like, so I was really blown away as a Count of Monte Cristo movie fan of just like how unique and striking this approach to the story was.
I'm glad to hear it.
Alan, what do you think of it?
I thought this was great. I think one of the things we haven't talked about too much yet is the setting being in the far future, like the 5000s or whatever.
Why the fuck not? That's awesome.
And there's a lot going on here influence wise, because I was reading that originally Gankutsuou was going to be an adaptation of like a sci-fi novel, and then he couldn't get the rights, and he was like, okay, but I already have all these cool ideas. Okay, I'm going to also do the Count of Monte Cristo, which is a story about somebody who it takes the system down by absorbing himself into it, which then ties into not only the theme of all four of these shows, how do you individualize yourself amongst a complicated system, and number two, makes the art style make a lot of sense because, and here's sub point number one, these are people being consumed by their environment, right? People who are like so wrapped up in it that they literally look like they are in the background, and you're looking for the humanity, the eyes, the nose, the basic shape of a face inside of a pattern, a mosaic pattern.
Yeah.
And the other sub point being that the art style of Gankutsuou is inspired by two primary things. Number one being ukiyo-e, which is like a Japanese art style that was itself inspired by European artists that came to Japan. And number two, by the works of Gustav Klimt, who was a artist who was inspired by ukiyo-e. It's all the fucking...
To bounce off of your, like, to keep going on your first sub point there, one of the things I really like too of the consuming by their environment is the Count and his right-hand woman. They stand out because they're different. Like, not only their outfits, but their skin color is different. Like, they are this unearthly blue, and, you know, we see, like, no one else is really like that. So even then, they are outsiders, yet they're claiming to be, we're part of the hierarchy here. We're part of the system. I have a relationship with the Cardinal. Aren't I excellent? But something that I love about the source material and even that the movie as well is, the Count himself is so dedicated to revenge that he's become inhuman almost, and the film does this visually, and this show does it much more so. It's almost like a vampire tale in a way. Like he's become such a bloodthirsty creature, and in this show with the sci-fi setting, they even ponder maybe he's an alien from outer space that we don't know about. Maybe he's a vampire. And my favorite character Franz is just like, okay, let's settle down.
And calm the fuck down. I love Franz in this.
Can we just be normal? And
No.
well, I think the thing is, all of us have some understanding of the Count of Monte Cristo, but what I think is very important to say to listeners out there who may not, this show and this episode is still very accessible because we are following a character who doesn't know the story. And so there is genuine mystery, genuine intrigue, but there's a point to it. Like the most important segment of this episode is like, this Count is very charismatic. He is charismatic. He's very alluring. You want to know about him. He's so mysterious, and he has this fashion style that's just so suave. And then we have dinner with him, and he wants to know our characters. But the thing is, they want to know about him. And he's like, no. I've lived a life. You are young. Tell me about your experiences. Like, oh, he's such a puzzle piece that you want to put down and see the whole picture of. But then you have the card playing sequence, and that's the thing that tells you the most about this character. Of he does not give a fuck about morals, but he will dress it up as if it's moral. Like he's just like, look, this is how it's going to play out anyway. We're all a part of somebody's game. And I like that too, of he does not make it the idea of destiny, like we're part of a grand. He makes it very deliberately someone else's
We're all
game.
controlled by
so we may as well
someone.
play it too and fuck other people over as well. Like he grounds it to this level of like, we individuals have choices to screw over other people because they will screw us over too.
Yeah, that sequence is because there's nothing like that in the book, right, Ryan? The whole like there's executions at the end of.
No, I don't recall, but he does manipulate Albert with like making him more corrupted.
Yes, right. Yeah, and what a brilliant invention and a way to like continue to make us want to know more about the Count, but ultimately center it on Albert being the protagonist and him needing to make a decision. And so you're learning about like, okay, Albert's thought process and way of interacting with this. He like wants to believe that he can do the right thing in this world that is like stubbornly refusing to give him any information about what is right and what is wrong. Or rather, it's like refusing to allow him to use any information that he has. And so it's like, should I act here? And then it also gets us thinking about, okay, the Count, we know the Count as a character. This is a new scene. So now I'm kind of thinking like, why does the Count character, as I understand him, want to do this and present this particular choice in this way? What does it do for his corruption or deception of Albert? What does it say about his belief in like how justice works, or what he wants Albert to think about how justice works? It's really fascinating. And you also kind of wonder what initials were on those other cards. Like, we never look at all three cards. How much was this a random game, or was it rigged to have a certain ending? It's just a brilliant, cool scene.
And the episode ends with that feeling too, where Albert is like, maybe I'm Himothy. Maybe, okay, that was kind of fucked up, but like I think I asserted some control there. I don't feel weird about that. Oh, at least I have this girl. She's so hot. I'm gonna hook up with her right in here at the fireworks. Oh, she pulls a gun on him because he's fucking stupid. You're not him. It's like, this is Xeno 101. You are not him, Albert.
They do a really subtle job as well of these are teenagers, these two lead, like Franz and Albert, and they give the right level of naivete and ignorance and innocence as well. Like Albert makes boneheaded decisions because he's prideful. He wants to prove that he's an adult in a certain way. He wants to, make buddy with someone who no one knows about, and he wants to peacock in a way. But then, Franz brings it down to, hey, weren't we here to, get pussy, basically? And Albert's like trying to dress it up like, no, we came here to find ourselves and find a meaning. And it's like, that's something that teenagers do sometimes, especially to give themselves like this idea of like, I'm not immature. And then when confronted with mature things, he follows what the adult says because they know better than me and I'm afraid of letting them down. What I love, though, in comparison, is Franz is perfectly played as he's mature but immature as well. I really adore, it's probably my favorite moment of the whole episode is Franz stands up to the Count. He says, no, this is wrong.
Yeah.
We can't do this. Don't play this game. You'll regret this forever. And the Count, like, belittles him. He's just like, oh, and you know better? Please tell me what you know. And Franz, like, weakens for a second and he bows to him. He bows to the Count and he's just like, I don't know what to do there. But what I like about that is terms of manipulation is the thing of Franz knows it's wrong, but he may not know how to articulate it to prove a point, but he knows it's wrong. And the Count is an adult who's like, well, if I speak eloquently and make you feel small and like a child, then I'm right. And and then after that, Franz is like, hey, let's go back to party boy mode. Like, he's just like, let's just not acknowledge that. But then when he's alone in the room by himself, you see him just be like, fuck, man, this is just some big, long, weird play, and I don't know what to do about it. Like, Franz is one of my favorite characters in this because on the surface, he's the party boy, but then underneath he has morals, but he's a teenager. How do you stand by your morals other than you just know your rights?
Yeah. Because this is a world, and like the Count is convinced of this from his experiences, where, well, it doesn't matter what is right because might makes right. If I just like am firm and use my authority and my power in the situation, whatever I do and say will end up being correct because that's just like how society shapes itself around power. And it's really interesting that what you're describing there, Ryan, of Franz being like, well, this feels wrong, but I have no way of enforcing that belief or like fighting against all these things that I have been taught to like respect and defer to and participate in. And that's kind of the genius of the vengeance of the Count of Monte Cristo is like what you said earlier, Alan, like I'm going to fully become the thing that this whole society idolizes and is fascinated by, so that I can then do exactly the thing that I want to do to like get my justice and vengeance. So to see Franz fail to like repudiate those kind of like the decorations of power is a really important moment.
And Owlbear doesn't even know on that level. Like he's way below Franz. And so you're just like, you are a dumbass. Like the girl at the end, like obviously is a ploy. And he's just like, but I'm in control of this because I'm a man. I'm a man.
Yeah. Stray notes. I have a lot of continued thoughts, but I want to hear your stray notes, my friends. Magellan?
Gosh. I love the worst murderer guy just being like, you know what? I killed 10 people. Throw shit at me.
Go ahead.
And that recognition that like from on his part, it doesn't matter what I say because the crowd doesn't want to see justice served. They want to see people get executed. Like the point of this is the spectacle. It's a party. Which is again the thing that the Count of Monte Cristo is like understanding and communicating through the game. Like this is not about justice here. The way that this society is set up, it's not built to be fair. And the people who like have the best time are the ones who aren't begging for mercy. Like, please, I didn't do it, or it was for my family. It's the guy who's like, fuck it, fuck you,
kill
whatever,
me,
man. Kill me. I don't care. You're gonna throw shit at me just like that guy who shouldn't die. And then he lives. And that's great.
And he's a jerk about it too. He lives. He's not like, oh, thank goodness. He's like, yeah, fuck you. You hate this, don't you?
This is really unfair.
Franz has a point of view too during this. Is like, oh, these people may say anything to save their own life. And then that guy is the opposite of that. He's like, fuck that. I don't care. I'm going to live my truth. He's the most honest character in the entire episode, and he's a murderer.
Yeah, pretty much. He has no heirs, unlike everybody else who's... listen, guys, the Count of Monte Cristo, he has heirs and heirs.
I see what you did there. I do want to comment upon the OP and the ED. I like them. I like that they're almost like in reverse, because usually in an anime the OP is the loud, bombastic, crazy one, and the ED is the quiet one. But in this show,
love
it's
it
the
when
opposite
it's the
way
opposite.
around.
It's my favorite.
I like that both of them just tell you the story of the Count and stuff, and I love the ED being this loud, bombastic thing where he's just like, you won't see me coming, and it's like the Count is all about like, look at me, and the music is garish and over the top, and he's like, watch me strike and all of that. And yet it's true, they don't really understand him because he's dazzling them so much that they aren't noticing the obvious manipulations. Franz does, but he doesn't know what to do about it. And I love the OP and ED. Also sung in English for both of them as well, I do believe. I forget which band it is, but the lead singer's like from a well-known band, and they just were like, oh, we just like your voice. You have like this sorrowful voice, and it works really well for both of them. And I just think the OP and ED are just gorgeous and just fun as well. Like to cap off the episode as a whole, it's just like, oh, this is neat.
Jean-Jacques Burnel sings the opening theme for the show.
There you go. Jean-Jacques. Again, leaning into your Frenchies. And I watched this in Japanese. I recommend everyone do that, because the voice of the Count is amazing.
Oh my God.
Like he's again one of the I think he's like the deepest voiced Japanese voice actor out there. Like I love every time he pops up. Joji Nakata, he has a voice that sounds like the devil and God.
I know.
Like
it's like so butter, just like pure butter. My full face. Yeah. It's an amazing voice.
He makes it, yeah. This is a fun episode, and yeah, it's an interesting take on the Count of Monte Cristo, and it's intriguing to see where they go with it too.
I'm curious. Let's move on. We have a decision to make, my friends.
We do. Ryan, we'd love to hear your recommendation. You obviously hold no power. This is a game kind of beyond your control.
You don't have to say that. I hold no power because they're also all the best shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's an impossible choice.
I will say that. Yeah, no, I will say that I was like, I'm genuinely happily surprised, but I think Paranoia Agent, because we had a lot to say about it. Like that one was like a lot more than I knew there was going to be a lot, but I think that we had so much to say about it. And Gankutsuou, man, like that's just the GOAT for me. Like not only do I enjoy it, but I think there's so much to get out of that show. The other two shows, not to, I mean, they're legends. Get Cowboy Bebop and Ghost in the Shell. They're iconic. There's a new Ghost in the Shell on, so that might be of interest to you both. But like in a way, they're so big. What do you say? That's how I kind of feel about that. But yeah, like I said, it's impossible for me. I'm glad I'm not flipping a coin like you two. I'm actually like, God, I just want to, as a fellow podcaster, I'm just like, God, can I cover all of these shows right now? But I don't have time. My human body is too frail.
Yeah.
Magellan, shall I flip a coin?
Yeah. Flip it.
For those who don't know, we flip a coin to decide who gets to pick what goes on first. The other person is left with 3 choices of the remaining shows, and the 2 that win will move on to the next round. Magellan, call it. Heads or tails?
Tails.
And here we are, folks. 3, 2, 1. Tails never fails. You win again, my friend. You get to keep a show first.
Gankutsuou. Sorry, Alan.
Homie said I'm gonna pick the one that all 3 of us want, and then you have to do the work. Thank you.
Sorry. I was praying that it would land on Tails, so I would get the easy pick.
You lucked out. That was such a good one. So I basically have to pick between 3 shows the 3 shows that I've seen, because I already wanted to watch the show that I haven't seen. The question
I will say, whatever choice you make, I wholeheartedly support. I don't think there's a wrong decision.
I appreciate it. And I don't think so either. Because the thing is, like, Paranoia Agent or Cowboy Bebop, pretty short seasons of Chatz if they somehow win all the way. I don't know how they're going to beat Adventure Time, but I'm just kidding. Or Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
I don't think Adventure Time even advanced.
Fuck.
Yeah, it already beat it.
Oh, yeah, that was easy. Yeah, so it's like, do I want to rewatch a long show or a short show that I love very much? Because I love all three of these shows deeply, deeply, deeply. I feel like if we do Cowboy Bebop, we have to have on like some of your college buddies. Wasn't Arthur one of those people, and or JKK?
Nah, maybe JKK was in and out, but it would be people who have not been on the podcast before.
Okay, so we might, I might poke those folks.
And if you did Cowboy Bebop, would you follow it up with a live action?
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Listen, we watched the fucking Prisoner remake. We can do anything. I eat my rap.
Legend of the Rangers. You could do anything.
We did. Yeah.
We can do anything we want. So, Paranoia Agent, short, sweet. My only thing is we already identified the theme of the show. It is, like I said, a very singular work that is almost entirely about collective failure of responsibility. But getting to see that from like 11 different cool points of view, and then getting to be there as Magellan experiences the end of Paranoia Agent would be such a fucking good experience. But also, I don't know. I've wanted some more sci-fi on Chatz recently. You know, we had such like a 2 years of Xena fantasy, and obviously we have Trek Chatz keeping us, you know, in the Star Trek minds for presumably the future of our whole lives. So it's like we do have sci-fi going on. So, but Cowboy Bebop, if we watch it, we have to watch the live action, and I really don't want to rewatch that. So I think it just flatly goes to Ghost in the Shell standalone complex.
That works for me.
I only know one other podcast. I love the Great Gundam Project. I respect them very much, but they're the only podcast I know who has ever covered it. So we could dive the fuck in. All right, so we've made our decision. Congrats to Get Sack if you're nasty, and Gankutsuou TCMC if you're also nasty. GTCMC.
Yucky stuff.
Very good.
Ryan, thanks for being here, my friend.
Yes.
Pleasure. I was very, very happy that you were both doing an animated run thing, and there's so many on the list on the bracket that I'm just like, oh man, these are the best. These are all great, and you have so much more to go through. But yeah, it's been fun listening to the bracket and just hearing the different thoughts and takes and things like that. And this particular run, boy, like it's just like, yep. These are great. these are awesome.
Tough
all different
choices.
Art styles too, which I appreciate as well.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with Magellan's note in his first note on Paranoia Agent. This shit is too real, man. Before the show has even meaningfully started, he just writes, what is it? This shit is too real, man. Yeah, that's fair. And then his last note, ... huh? That's Paranoia Agent in a nutshell. You should all watch it, even though it didn't win. You should absolutely watch it. And I want to say this because we've had some people catching up on TCTM recently. A show losing in no way indicates that we don't like it or that it's not good. It just means that it's not moving on to be covered.
Right.
Yeah.
I would recommend almost every single eliminated show. So almost every single eliminated show so far. Sorry, Beavis and Butthead.
Alan's actually saying definitely Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, you gotta watch it. So yeah, do
we
watch.
never talked about what we would call the Beavis and Butthead season, but Beavis and Butt Chats would be pretty good, I think.
We might need to. We've talked about the theoretically undoing a vote in the past, and we agreed against it. The real vote that we need to undo is getting rid of Beavis and Butthead. Or getting rid of Beavis and Butthead so we can do Beavis and Butt Chats. Okay. So Magellan, what are we doing next week on Chatz, the television podcast?
Sorry. We're doing the second half of this anime drama bracket. We are watching the first episodes of Clannad, Kaiji, Ping Pong the Animation, and Vinland Saga. So join us for those.
I've only seen one of those.
Nice.
That's exciting.
I've seen two of them.
I've seen none.
That's fine.
Nice.
I have a story about Vinland Saga. I can't wait to talk about Ping Pong. That's the one that I've seen, and I need people to stop yelling at me to watch Clannad. God damn it! I'm finally gonna try Clannad out and see.
I'm one of those people. Get on it.
Okay, we're gonna get on it in less than a week. We'll be recording.
You do the show and then you play the game. Why not?
Yeah, sure. That's so that could happen. What was the fourth one? Anything good?
I don't know which ones you said. Ping Pong? Did you say
Ping Pong, Clannad,
Kaiji.
Oh, sure. Oh, I've been hearing about Kaiji for years. I'm excited to finally watch Kaiji. It's one of ProCD's favorite shows of all time. And friend of the podcast, Kyrie's. Well, Anyways, let's get into things. Ryan, where can people find you on the internet?
I can be found under the podcast Yum Yum Podcast, in which my wife and I talk about science fiction television series. At the moment, we're talking about Killjoys, which is a sci-fi bounty hunter show, very much like Cowboy Bebop, except not. What happens if Cowboy Bebop, the lead character, was a woman? That would be interesting, huh? But no, it's a fun show. We're nearing the end of that, and we've talked about Star Trek. We talked about Starfleet Academy. That was an interesting run. We had our friend Bartek on, who has never watched any Star Trek before, and we made him watch that one as his entryway show because that's supposed to be appealing to the youth. And so that was an interesting journey. Bartek, as mentioned with him, he also hosts a podcast with myself. We do Spit and Polish Presents, in which we talk about movies, just whatever. We've had both of you on. We talked about that Count of Monte Cristo movie, in which my critique was, Guy Pearce, calm it down. Just take it down a notch.
He will not. He will not.
Fair critique.
One notch.
Fair critique.
And we watched that before we as an anime group watched Gankutsuou, so that was kind of an interesting thing. So, but no, we've had you on for both of those podcasts over the years. But no, we can be found on the internet and all of the places, all the podcasting sites. And that's it from me. What about you two? What's happening?
John, where can we find you?
You can find me on another podcast I do with my friend Justin called Super Smash Echoes, where we play video games related to the Super Smash Brothers franchise. Super Smash Echoes, check it out. You can also find me on Bluesky, not.magellan.bsky.social, and on Ghost, not-that-magellan.ghost.io. Alan, what about you?
Video viewers get an exclusive attempt of me trying to lip read Magellan there.
How'd you do?
You'll have to watch to find out. YouTube.com/Chatz Television Podcast is one of the places you can find me. You can also find me on Bluesky at Ibrahim, AIBRAHIM. And podcast-wise, my main other gig is The Creature Corner, which is a wonderful podcast, which is a Pokemon podcast that I do with the wonderful Six Detmar from Scanline Media, and we talk about Pokemon and Pokemon news, and we're playing through the Kanto games, and we've ranked Pokemon before, and we talk about like cool stuff. It's a really fun show. That's my other podcast gig. I'm keeping it pretty chill these days ish. It is a odd episode, which means I get to do the plug zone. Yay. If you have questions, comments, or concerns for Chatz at Television Pod, it is our email address at chatzpod.gmail.com is the quickest and best way to get at us. We're also on Chatspod as a unit. We are Chatspod on Bluesky. We are Chatz at Television Podcast on YouTube, where 2 days after the main feed release, you get a video version where you can see me in summer mode and Ryan, who's on another hemisphere, in deep winter. And you get to see Magellan's dynamic camera angles. You get to see maybe a cat cameo or 2 or 5. And you get to watch
games are in the background. You guess of Magellan. What's there? What do you want to play?
Can we play Nomia and then Scattergories and then go to bed?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Perfect.
I see what looks like a wizard over Magellan's head, holding like an orb, like in a purpley red box or
is
book.
That
that's a game called Whirling Witchcraft.
Okay,
there you go.
Right there.
Are you doing the Sims thing?
See that in the video version?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing the Sims thing.
Okay, so we got that on YouTube. You can rate us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and financially you can support us patreon.com/chatzpod. $1, $3, and $5 a month are our tiers. We've got exclusive titles on the free Chatz Discord, where we talk about movies and shows with people like Ryan, and games, of course. We have a backlog of almost like 8 years of awesome Chatz Patreon content, where we do non-show coverage, talking about movies and video games and essays and books. That's all at patreon.com/chatzpod. $3 and $5 a month get you once a year, or at least once a cycle, the ability to add something to the Patron Cup, which is picked from once a month, and that, in addition to one of our picks, become the content that we do on Patreon that month. So, Magellan, is it time to pull from the cup today?
I'm not prepared to do that, but we should do it soon.
Okay.
Never are. You never are. They tell you in the podcast. Check out the video to watch the cup pull. 10 times out of 10, cup not available. Magellan not ready.
No, that's not true.
Maybe 9 times out of 10. I've definitely done it at least one time.
Actually pulled from the cup. You've done it plenty.
On
I've
camera
done it
cup
twice,
pull.
maybe.
Okay, I'm
Twice.
gonna hold you accountable and have you try to bring it to the next episode live.
Okay, I'll try.
Yeah, we
Or
missed
if-
the cup.
If you're busy between now and then I'm
I'll
gonna ask
show
you to
you the
record a
cup.
postscript. Is it not on camera? Where is it? Oh, it's
It's in the plant, everyone.
Oh my god, it's
Hiding in the
hidden.
plant.
There's the cup.
Hidden.
Okay,
Here's this little guy.
don't
You
pull
can-
from it.
Yeah. Oh.
Aw.
Don't
hello.
pull from it, though.
$5 a month on that Chat's Patreon gets you an addition to the cup and a thank you at the end of every main feed episode. Thank you to our $5 plus patrons who as of today include. That was a lot of words. Hold on. Fiance of the podcast, Amanda, Arthur, Emily, Emrys, Felicia, Jen, Justin, girlfriend of the podcast, Kelly, Kyrie, Lee, Marcus, Magellan's actual biological mom, MP, Nick of the Brothers at Infinite War, Noel, Six, Stefan, and Steph. Thank you so much for supporting Chats. I'm getting laughed at by my co-hosts. If you like our main podcast art, which is boom right there on the video version, that's done by Camilla. She's at Camilla Strader on social media. Give her a follow. Okay, let's lock in, lads. I got like 60 more seconds before I die in this room, and also my edibles kicking. I mean, my food is kicking in. Ryan, Chatzums, recommend something. You get to recommend us anything right now. Go.
Wow. What a responsibility. A real Sophie's Choice, the Chatsum is. I'm not Chatsuming Sophie's Choice, the film, although what a fun night out that is. I finished an anime recently that I enjoyed called Techno Lies, spelled in a fun, weird way, by the same people who did Serial Experiments Lane, a show I have yet to watch, actually, that one.
Very
list,
transgender
but,
show. Very transgender
Techno-
TV show. Sorry.
Techno Lies is a very interesting sci-fi dystopia series in which people live underground in an underground city, and it's like despair, just like how do we live? And a part of it is society is evolving itself with cybernetics, but at what cost? And it's such a fascinating show. It's very quiet. Like I think the first episode maybe has like 8 words spoken in it. It's very good. It has one of my favorite character types ever, which is there's a crime lord character who's got an extreme sense of nobility, yet they enact heinous violence. I love those type of characters in which like the criminal who has like this almost samurai honor code about them, and it's such a fascinating dynamic with the lead character of that series that again opens up with the lead character getting his arm and leg chopped off with a sword by this guy, and then you have to watch these two perhaps become friends after that. It's such a fascinating series. One of the best antagonists I've seen in a while, who's just like a guy who looks like a tourist, wears a little bucket hat, has a little mustache, and just goes around asking questions about like, hey, what's going on here? And then causes chaos along the way. Fascinating show. Really loved it. I just went on a blind pick with that one. I've been just bookmarking, looking up random shows I wanted to watch, and I was like, well, this one looks interesting. Didn't know much about it, and boy, I was really satisfied with it. And yes, if you're wanting to watch an anime, give that one a watch. And yeah, it's very patient. It's very quiet, and it's also one where there's like, you look up the voice acting cast, and they're like mainly no ones. Like they mainly have only done this show, which also fascinates me. But then a character will be voiced by Gankutsuou himself, and he's like in one episode, and then that's it. And you're like, okay, fair enough. So kooky show, like it's a hard hitting show. It's not an upbeat show, but also today we've not talked about too many upbeat shows, so it kind of works.
Just incredible math. That's what we've talked about.
Just incredible math.
Incredible math. Technolize has been on my list for a while. It's good to hear the pitch. I love that. Magellan Chatsum or /S?
Chatsum this week, friend of the show, Arthur and I have been going back and forth playing chess on the chess.com app. And it's been fun. Just start a game of chess where you're doing a turn, like maybe a couple turns a day, you know? Just like old school. We're mailing each other our moves. I like it. It's fun. So I'm not chatsuming chess, the game. It's out. You've played it. But just like slowly playing chess remotely. That's pretty fun.
Every move counts. I love that.
Yeah.
Honestly, watching Queen's Gambit I fell for it. I was like, I should learn chess. And then I tried playing really hard chess on Postmo, really bad chess, I mean. And that game fucking sucks. I was on a streak for a while. It's so hard. It's just where they randomize the pieces. Anyways,
Mhm.
I have 2 quick chatsums. Number 1 is Remarkably Bright Creatures, which is a novel that I've been reading with my book club. And I'm about 2/3 of the way through it, and I really like it. It's a very cozy summer read. Basic elevator pitch. You've got this older woman named Tova, who is a widow who works in an aquarium, and she meets a young 30-something-year-old man named Cameron, and they're both dealing with their own forms of trauma and growing up, and also there happens to be a squid in this aquarium who is like hyper intelligent and understands them and tries to help them. And Cole Meany is there in the movie adaptation. So
Oh, Miles O'Brien?
Miles O'Brien himself. Well, it's funny because that character is Scottish in the book, and so I'm reading the thing about the movie, and I'm like, what the fuck? But neither here nor there.
Yeah, I hope he suffers in the movie because that's what Colin Meaney's for, suffering.
I have not seen the movie. I'm chatting the book specifically because it's just so cool. It's like not like the reveal of the book as soon as I explain it. That's why I'm not even telling you like the bigger premise of it. As soon as you hear it, you're like, I know what this is. It's just, but it's breezy, it's cozy, it takes place by the ocean, it's kind of East Coasty, it's a little sexy, it's funny, and it's about like old people and young people working together. So I recommend that. And then this is sort of a preemptive chatsum, but I started a new RPG, you guys. I'm gonna chat some Deltarune. I'm doing the damn thing. So folks know I've been trying this like game backlog method of like picking 1 game or 2 games maximum amount of time on my Switch, and I only play those games for an extended period. Not until I get sick, but sort of like if I can focus on beating something and playing it methodically, then I tend to beat things more effectively. That's how I beat Legends Arceus earlier this year, and that's how I'm playing through Deltarune, which is the follow-up to Toby Fox's Undertale. The first episode of it came out in 2018. 5 episodes out of a planned 7 are out so far, and so I think a lot of friends in like my group are like, we're just gonna wait until the whole thing's done. And I'm like, I don't know when the whole thing is gonna be done. I just want to start. And the other thing is, it's a Toby Fox game, so like saying too much about the plot is like kind of ruining the point. And it's full of mysteries and secrets, and I think it's worth actually not waiting until the whole thing is out and starting early, because you're gonna want to be in on the ground floor. This game's got some weird, funny, heartfelt, thought-provoking shit going on, and I want more people to talk about Deltarune with who aren't like 13 and drawing fan art. So please, my chatsum is, if you are a grown adult, please play Deltarune and tell me what you think about it. I sent someone a DM last night at 2 after finishing episode 2, and I went, what the fuck? And then I went to sleep. So it's...
sorry to the teenage listeners of Chatz. You can't talk to Alan about it. Alan don't want to hear about what OC you've drawn on your Tumblr.
They're all,
okay?
no, I
Alan
do. It's just, that's not the only thing I want, is what I'm saying. That's all I'm seeing right now is people being like, Ralsei and Chris kissing. And I'm like, that's great, but...
But Alan, who is the cutest character?
It's Ralsei. There's a sprite where he's got his little glasses. It's like Undertale. You can spare people and kill people. But it's got a story that's like really charming and wholesome at front, and then behind the scenes, it's like, oh, something fucked up is going on. That's it.
Classic.
I'm done talking now. I want to go to bed. Thank you to Magellan for being the... Close this tab about Remarkably Rare Creatures. Let's talk about anime. Thank you for being the the major to my bateau. Because there's literally nothing going on between us, and yet there happens to be sparkling chemistry. Thank you to Ryan, of course, for being the shonen bat to my Japanese society, because whenever I have a problem, I know just who to call. Thank you for listening to
I'll just bash you in.
That's it. Stay zany. I was told that the goofy noise is too loud, so I'm not going to play it anymore.
Aww.
Play
it louder.
Okay.